Liked by the sound of violence.
Do you know anyone in the gay community? Because I do. I know people. And they would be interested. I know a bunch of lesbians. They would be interested. And how will they know, though, if she's not promoted? I don't know. It's just weird. And, like I was going to say, because I've put this on Twitter before, people are like, so she should just be pushed because of her sexuality? Blah, blah, blah. Like, Paige got pushed because of her titties. You know? Like, I was talking about someone's relationship and exposing them to a whole market that they're a part of. How is that exploiting anything? Like, that's stupid. Stupid. It's exposing her to an audience of her peers. Promoting her to an audience of her peers. Like, duh. And I feel like a broken record. That's someone who's, like, more accepted. Like, Izzy can't even post a pretty self, and it is a pretty self. I understand some dudes probably confused.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast. It talks about the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, can't miss each week. So as we try and check out a new show, I am Pulver, and I am back yet again with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. How's it going, man?
Doing well, man. Got that COVID clean haircut. Luckily, my barber was in town. He lives in Temecula. So long overdue. I was tired of wearing hats. I was getting used to it, but yeah.
That's what's up, man. Well, we are coming to you from another Sunday night recording, which these always feel, they're definitely a different feel than our Friday night recordings. Like, our Friday night recordings get kind of lit, as people could probably tell last week. But, yeah, man, I'm excited to get into this one. But before we do any of that, we should start off with our Papa Vodka Presents, Doug Stanhope Presents, our sponsors. Yes, nailed it. So, Chris, why don't you start us off with the totally real, super not fake sponsor that you're bringing this week?
So I'm really excited for this one. This is a collaboration beer. I found this
Is
at
this what
our
I
friends.
think it is? Because I might be very excited.
You probably heard of this 1000%. I'd be surprised if you haven't. So, what I didn't realize, it's AleSmith's 25th anniversary this year.
They've been doing a lot of big stuff this year.
And they did a collaboration with none other than Weathered Souls.
Yes, I'm so glad you got this beer, because I wanted to, but I didn't make it to Claremont to pick it up.
Yeah, so this beer, really cool artwork, has two friars on it. It's called Diego Antonio, which I imagine is for San Diego and San Antonio collab. It is a West Coast style IPA brewed with Citra and Nelson hops. So if I poured it in a glass, I think is it Nelson that's kind of get that milk, that almost haze to it, if I recall. Usually,
it's part of it. I mean, it also, I'm sure, is the.
Well, I'll have another one later. This is strong anyway. Yeah, let me see.
But Nelson definitely has a little bit of that like pininess, but not not as like piney as like old school IPAs. Like Alpine Nelson is always like the classic Nelson example.
That's probably my favorite beer by Alpine, is that, and then holy fucking shit, for at least for Alpine Brewing. Yeah, this is really nice and clean. This is good. Not overpowering. Has a nice piney, but kind of also juicy.
Like, what style of hazy would you put it in?
That's why I'm gonna pour it in a glass.
Wait, does it even say hazy on it? Because I think it's
not. It's not. This doesn't. So This is interesting IPA.
I would think it's more of like probably towards like an old school. It sounds like more of an old school San Diego IPA meets like a little bit of a newer touch. Like
It's like a kind of hazy beer, like because you have like those juice. You could taste the citra,
right?
Or like juice that you almost feel like
that,
it
like,
could be like mosaic,
tropical.
but it's not as tropical yet because there's no real fruity notes as far as like say mango or peach.
Interesting.
As far as
so like kind of like a 2010 West Coast IPA, right? Or like 20, maybe like maybe that's a little early. Maybe like 2014 West Coast IPA, where like everybody was doing like really just like kind of fruity IPAs, but not like full like.
This is more tropical. Hoppy. This is definitely more. It's melon. That's what I'd call it. Melon for the fruit notes, the subtle fruit notes, but it's definitely more piney, but dry. It's like dry, but it's like crispy. It's like a crispy IPA.
That sounds awesome. So
it's
weather
similar
also for
to the
San
brewery
Antonio,
that I work at that I'll never say, but you probably already know.
Yeah.
Similar to that brewery's main IPA.
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
a little more. Let me look this up.
Yeah, this one sounds like it's pretty legit, to be honest.
It's very good. This is solid. Let me see. Diego Antonio. I always like trying to sound smart and guessing what the fuck everything is that's in it.
I think you're right on both of those. I think it says it right on it, right?
Let's see. Style guide.
Because I'm pretty sure they said at least one of the hops, unless I'm thinking of a different beer.
Okay, characterized by floral. I always forget about that. That the whole
you're looking at Untapped.
Yeah, piney. So I got resinous. That's right. That's when it kind of like sticks to the roof of your mouth. That's when they call it usually resinous. So
and resinous is like inherently weed, kind of like a weedy.
Yeah, let's see. All the hop flavor. Oh yeah, it smells good. Aroma and bitterness. Yeah, now that I think about it, it's not more hot. It's slight bitterness, but I'd say like on the top part of your palate.
Right. It's not like a 06 like Stone IPA.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of
they just say fruity citrus light because it's not really a style. It's like a blend of fruits that you just can't really kind of figure out.
Yeah. Well, and it seems very much like trying to think of some of the beers that came out in that. I mean, a lot of stuff from your brewery is kind of in that same angle. Some of the stuff from Society is kind of in that same like. Not like full tropical bomb, but more on the citrusy side, or not even citrusy, but like more on like the I guess it's technically citrusy, but it's like less of the tropical citrus fruits and more of just like I don't know, a little bit of like lemony kind of stuff going on, or like
I would describe it as like a zesty.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The back of your tongue.
Absolutely.
But this is good. This is really solid. I like it a lot.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm very glad you picked that up because that was one I wanted to hunt down this week that I just didn't get around to. And instead, I am actually drinking a cocktail. Not only that, I'm drinking a pre-made cocktail. Not only that, I'm drinking a pre-made cocktail from a company that I sometimes feel weird about, which is Cutwater Spirits.
I was going to say, it's got to be Cutwater.
Yeah, formerly Ballast Point, wherein they kind of split the company and then sold it to, is it AB InBev?
Yeah, Anheuser, yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Which is disappointing.
It's disappointing,
however,
but those dudes are multi-billionaires now.
Well, that, number one. But number two, what's really cool is they also, Cutwater recently, on my Instagram, I posted this. I think I'm the Pulver on Instagram. But Cutwater, within the last week, did a big event where they basically had an open... like lunch for any restaurant or bar, people in the restaurant and bar industry down here in San Diego. Anyone that is having a hard time with COVID, I don't even think they specified that it's unemployed. I think they just said like, hey, if you're having a hard time right now and you need lunch, bring us a paycheck or a business card or something that verifies you work or worked recently in a bar or restaurant, and we'll give you lunch, and it's free for everybody. And so I thought that was very cool of them. I mean, they are. Since they got bought out, they're really not a local business anymore or San Diego like centric at all. I mean, they do still produce all that stuff down here, but I thought it was very cool for them to go out and support the community in that like strong of a way. And like, you and I both, most of our friends and most people we know are in either the restaurant or bar or restaurant or brewery industry. I mean, that's what we live. We're a goddamn tourist industry aside from the Navy. So, I guess the fucking armed forces in general down here. But, yeah, man, it was really cool to see them come out and do that. And Also, side note, they make really good fucking cocktails. I don't know if it's just like rose tinted glasses or whatever that like I feel like I used to like their stuff a little bit more. I feel like it's a little bit less.
So yeah, let me tell me which one you're having and maybe I can.
So I am drinking the vodka mule.
Okay, yeah,
which is probably my second favorite behind the rum and ginger.
Rum and ginger was great. I'd probably say my
Paloma's got to be up there.
I like the Bloody Mary, and I like the mild, and I like the spicy, but it's so goddamn chunky.
Yeah, I like to get the mix better.
Yeah, the mix is fine.
The mix is good, and then you can kind of zhuzh that shit up.
Yeah, I'd probably say my favorite is... my favorite's the fucking gin and tonic one to have for the cocktail.
Yeah.
The G&T is good, and then after that, I'd probably say vodka mule, and then after that...
Their Mai Tai's not bad. They do it at the Valley High.
I did have a Mai Tai about maybe 3 weeks ago. That fucked me up.
Yeah.
That was very good, though.
Yeah,
and then the one I had that was also good was the whiskey lemon tea.
Oh, yeah, it's black tea and whiskey, I think, or something like that.
Bourbon. I don't think they had it anymore. Some of them limited.
I know I had a while back.
The one that I really wanted to like, and I really did, it was horchata with, like, cold brew and, like, fucking rum. And it just gave me a really bad stomach ache.
Yeah, it sounds like that would hurt.
It was just too sweet.
Yeah. But I would say, like, honestly, I probably haven't had a better canned cocktail than what Cutwater makes, to be honest. I mean, I loved them. We used to cover them on the show, fucking whatever it was, 4 years, 3, 4, actually, literally 4 years ago. We used to
vodka soda, or like when I go to the Padre games, if I didn't want to, like, dude, I'd get it. The ABV said 5. I don't know.
No, it's 7, I think, on the can, but like some of these don't feel like 7. Well,
like you get the vodka sodas, I get either grapefruit or like cucumber.
Yeah, grapefruit's really good.
And it would say 5, and I'm like, is it 5? I guess. Like I think it was, because I remember, dude, whether I was watching Netflix or just hanging out, I would just be crushing like 3 of them, and then like I would get a good buzz, but I wasn't like fucked up. You know, that's kind of cool if you can make a cocktail that's like a little diluted.
Well, and not just that though, they're really drinkable. Their ginger on everything they use with ginger is super bright, and like it's aggressive ginger. Like if you're not good into spicy ginger, you probably won't like it.
I know what you're talking about.
Especially the rum. The rum one, you can't even open it near your nose or else you'll cough.
I know.
It's legit. It's a legit spicy ginger. So I know this sounds like an ad. It's not. I don't even really feel that great about this company in general, since they sold out to AB InBev. It's like kind of fuck you on that principle in general down here.
It's like fuck you, but I respect you for getting your fucking bread.
Well, and I also respect the fact that like these are still very decent to high quality canned cocktails that like if I was to see any canned cocktail in a line and this was one of them, I would grab that just because I know Cutwater shit is good. So. Well, on that note, now that I've done a giant ad for a company I don't even necessarily like that much.
Well, yeah, you goddamn shill.
I know, fucking. See, this is the. Well, to be fair, that's kind of our entire show.
All right, now talk about.
Our entire show is doing ads.
Talk about the WWE now. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it. Yeah, let's proceed to talk about a company that I feel real bad about a lot of their business practices, or a lot of podcasts who have questionable business practices. But I guess before we get into that, I do have
I'm gonna just be like this the whole entire time from a podcast that you recognize. You know, I'm just gonna be really, really close. And then, is the lighting good?
There you go. It's way better. I actually I forgot to do my sweet Sean Sheehan intro where I go, this is Chris Pulver, aka Mai Tai Tuivasa. And I did figure out Mai Tai Tuivasa right before the show. I was like, I need somebody to paint that. I don't know what it looks like. All I know is it has Tai Tuivasa and a Mai Tai. And from after that point, fucking artist discretion, bro. But that sounds like something I need in my life. So some news that we had this week. Phone Booth Fighting celebrated their 5-year anniversary, which is pretty wild. Does not seem like that show's been around for 5 years, but I guess since we've been around for, 4 now? I guess
technically, I think the first one we did, it wasn't, released, was, in 2015.
No, I think it was right after I got back from Mardi Gras in 2016. Because I remember watching this Stephen Thompson Johnny Hendricks fight at Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and then I think it was when I got back in March. We did the. I think it was Cyborg's first fight.
I left. It
was right around then.
I left for the Netherlands a couple months, in August.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah,
so I think so.
Yeah. No, that all checks out because that's when I started dating girlfriend Karen too. 2016 was a weird year, evidently. Now that I look back on it, that seems like 1800 years ago, but it also seems like last year.
Yeah, but this year's been fucking long but fast.
Dude, for real. I can't believe it's August. It's fucking terrifies me. Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, cool to see Fumble with Fighting make it 5 years. That show is way different than it used to be, and it's way less consistent than it used to be, meaning, like, I feel like they used to have a lot more consistent release schedule with a lot longer episodes and a lot more guests and stuff. The guest thing, I guess I get now, because even though they do some Skype stuff, I get that everybody's kind of guest situation and home setup and everything makes that kind of weird. Also, I'm sure Frank Mir recording from his house has got to be hard with kids and wife and all that, but interesting nonetheless. And then the other big news this week. So, Grange TV has been off for a while, right? When was the last time you remember them having an episode?
Like maybe the end of 2018?
So I think it was more recent than that. If I remember right, it was after the Adesanya loss, maybe? Here, let me look at
no, you're talking about Grange. Sorry, I was thinking of Frenemies for some fucking dumb reason.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking of New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah, no, the last one was episode 69. Oh, nice.
Nice.
And that was on January 10th, 2020. So I guess it was the beginning of this year was the last episode they did. And so that show is back for episode 70 this week. And Robert Whittaker's no longer on that show.
Oh.
So since he's no longer working directly with, oh my God, can you please tell me that dude's name?
Fabricio?
Yeah, with Fab. Thank you. I always forget Fab's name.
So that's just not one of his coaches anymore?
No. Well, at least it wasn't like super explicit, but it seems like, yeah, Robert's working with other coaches right now. So,
okay.
And so he even says on the show, like, hey, we're going to try and have Rob on in the future for like an interview and stuff, and we'll have him on as a guest, but he's not going to be like a regular co-host. Which is sad to hear because I always really liked hearing Rob on that show, but I get it. I mean,
them kind of grilling each other was pretty funny too.
Well, and also like they were, I just really, I like the dynamic on that, and I think Robert Whittaker's a really interesting voice in the sport, and I like hearing from him. But I mean, if they're not working together, I get it. But Fab's going to continue on doing it, and I'll get into that a bit later as well. But interesting note, and an end to what we've often said was one of the best shows hosted by a fighter. So, or at least we'll say like a big name fighter, right?
Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Like that one and Izzy are probably like the two high profile fighters that had a regular podcast that was like just really fucking good, you know? No shade at we'll say an ESPN show or multiple ESPN shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is that's some of the
Sound
news
of Violence. You absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of more the shill.
Oh well.
Yeah. But which, by the way, that makes me so sad. We'll get into it later. But god damn it, man, used to like dude so much, and then now he just sold his soul. Anyway, so we're gonna get into our we are not a booze podcast and we are not a news breaking podcast for obvious reasons. Probably the two are related, but we will get into format.
I mean, they do rhyme.
They not only do they rhyme, one makes the other one hard, and I won't tell you which. But news doesn't make booze hard. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people skip this week? Because I feel like overall it's a pretty good podcast. I mean, sorry, I said skip instead of catch, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually don't have a skip.
Spoiler. I was looking at the word skip when I say I haven't decided whether I have a skip or not yet. We'll get to that. But why don't you start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week? Because I feel like there was a handful of good ones.
Yeah, I have multiples.
Me as
just
well.
Put that out there. First one for me is Co-Main Event Podcast. I didn't write down the number.
I got you. Keep talking.
So they go ahead and talk. They kind of recap the fight from last week, not just this past week, not yesterday. They said Joanne Calderwood can't expect to ever beat Valentina Shevchenko. She can't beat Jennifer Maia.
Yeah, I mean that's rough. Also, I believe this was this was Co-Main Event episode 413.
Okay. They said Lana Venata is always a fun fight, regardless of matchup. I mean,
him and Bobby Green both.
Yeah.
Although Bobby Green, especially Bobby Green recently, I should
and they said, speaking of Bobby Green, is the Triple H celebration from Bobby Green cool?
No!
Sure, maybe not during a pandemic.
No, it's not cool, bro. You can't be spraying water during a fucking plague.
Yeah. And they said, we don't live in a world where Khamzat Chimaev will ever fight Conor McGregor. If he's ever going to fight him, it's going to be in the streets of Dublin. And they said, Khamzat...
By the way, yeah, I love their Streets of Dublin gimmick.
Yeah, and they're like, Khamzat, next time you go to Ireland, don't say, yes, I'm here to see Mr. Conor McGregor. Just say, I'm here to tour, to be a tourist. You know? They're like, go to Guinness, have a beer.
I'd like to be the first to say we are 100% on board with the anytime you get angry, you say you're about to fly to Ireland gimmick that they started. That is fucking incredible, and I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean,
because dude, they also actually on that episode, I believe, talked about Tito wanting to become a city council meet.
Yeah, they said, how does City Councilman Tito Ortiz sound? Well, the first motion he puts in process is to put flames on all cars in the city.
Yeah, not only that, but Chris, as someone who I believe you grew up at least around city council people, both like within your school and like stuff. So I know you've been around it. Yeah. So how do you feel a guy like Tito Ortiz would fare in public interactions at a city council meeting where you have to talk to people, or just how does he sit through a meeting? Is my question to you. He doesn't. Is the by the answer, right?
No, he what he does is he gets up halfway through, goes to there's actually a really nice kind of buffet snack lounge behind actual City Hall, at least in a bigger city like San Diego, but I wouldn't know. And basically what would happen is his chief of staff would just kind of
take
either
notes.
Sit there and take notes for him, or usually that's what they do. The chief of staff is like, all right, well, this fucking sucks, and then they're just sitting there not answering questions and just taking notes.
So you're really basically saying that this is actually terrifyingly more realistic than we originally thought.
But Tito's also all about Trump and God and not wearing a mask.
And hating Mexicans,
maybe he'd be really invested into what his fellow Huntington Beach residents have to say, because everything they say, they're probably like, think about this. As far as their emotions go and just things that are on the docket, which is, just like the speaking schedule of the day or the itinerary, right? The docket,
right?
As far as motions that pass certain, what is it? I can't remember the stupid fucking.
Jargon. Tito knows a lot about motions, but they ain't like legal motions.
I can't really imagine Huntington Beach City Council ever arguing against each other if they're always agreeing with the residents.
Well, that's okay. Good point. Also,
I'm just saying, unless you have some actual liberals on the council. Yeah. But
that's a good. Wow.
I just realized already now. Like, are they ever actually going to even go against each other? Or is it going to be like, all right, motion to fine people for wearing a mask? All who oppose? And it's like, oh, only one vote? Oh, nope, never mind. They just pressed the wrong button. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, as someone who has spent multiple family trips as a kid in Huntington Beach, that I every single time somehow happen to witness street fights, generally race involved. None of this surprises me. But shouts out to all the skateboarders in Huntington who are sweethearts, like Ed Templeton and guys that I used to always see out there.
Shouts out to the surfers, even though I don't surf and I'm afraid of the water.
That's right. Shouts out to that girl I met that blew me that one time when I was a teenager.
There you go.
So that's totally a fake story. So where were we? Oh, right, co-main event podcast. Oh God, how did we get here?
It's fake because she would have converted you or tried to.
Oh well, I didn't. Thank God she didn't talk a lot.
All right, she didn't see the light.
I'm gonna get canceled for all this, I'm sure. Speaking of canceled, though, they also talked about on that episode. This is the fucking. I know it's not a good segue when you say it's a good segue, but hold on to your fucking belts, kids. So the UFC also talked about, they also talked about how the UFC didn't pay show money to canceled bouts. Speaking of cancellations,
I saw that, and that's
Chris,
really sad.
I mean, it's fucking gross considering they also during every event somehow feel the need to let everyone know that it's one of their most profitable years ever. But they're also like, oh, but also we're flying our employees out to literally physically dangerous situations, not just because of their job, but also like if hazard
this would be Dana. I'd be like, excuse me, Dana White here. There they go. Excuse me, Dana. Chris.
They're like, Dana, can you move your mask?
They're like, Chris, the Sound of Violence podcast. Yeah. Can you please kind of just confirm the reports that fighters aren't getting all of the show money where they had to drop out last minute before their bout even though they actually showed up to the event?
Over-under on number of words before you hear goof.
Yeah. First off, just because he's nervous. First of all, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Yep.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Think about everything else.
I don't know if you know.
Like you see where I'm getting with this, but 100%. Basically he'd say that, and he'd just be like this, look, and then wouldn't let me actually answer my other question and
then the other reporters would boo you for asking.
And it'd be like, who would be a shill?
Let's move on.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do it.
Hilarious, though. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Where were we on this? Oh, added that card, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I believe it was
JoJo
after her fight. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's scary. And then I saw
this off and on. It's really like guest dependent. Because there's some guests that I'm like, still got weird feelings about here and there, depending on who they're paired with. But this week it was Ant Walker versus Jed Meshew, and oh boy, what a combo. First off, I'm a big Ant Walker fan. I've always thought he was hilarious since the old Sherdog days with TJ. And, if you don't agree, you can definitely go get that work because he's willing to give it to you. But he was on with Jed Meshew, who is notoriously salty and real like dry wit. It's not only on Twitter but on podcasts. So this is a really fun one. They talk about what's next for Shabazz. By the way, big shouts to ASAP Ferg. He's a big Shabazz fan, from what I've heard.
Wow, god damn it. Yeah.
So fucking stupid. As I was writing notes this week, I thought of that joke. I was like, that's the dumbest shit.
You're just like this. One gold tooth, Shaba.
Well, 100%. I was like, how do I abbreviate his name? I was like, oh, Shaba. And to be fair, he was almost... Shouts
out to reggae artist Shaba Rank.
I was just about to say, he was so close to being Shaba ranked. Anyway, fucking so stupid.
Well, what does he fall to? He was number 9.
Yeah. No, Shaba unranked. That doesn't really work as well. Short dude, but his dick's long though. All right, let's keep moving. Although shout out to my bitch dog. What's the upcoming title fights most competitive? They also talk about. They discuss whether Cody can actually move down to 125 and face Fig, which unfortunately got it down to this week, I think, right? Or is that just still rumored?
No, it's official, and
that fight.
Well, I don't.
How you gonna just get? I'm so tired of them giving people 125 title shots without them ever being in that division.
I'll say this. I honestly think he does better than how TJ did, but mostly because Cody's a lot smaller weight-wise than TJ was. I think Cody will be fine at that weight class. It will be. I think it legitimately will be a good fight. It's just really. It really comes down to if the Cody that we saw
Cody make weight. Is what it comes down to, because it's gonna be hilarious when neither one of them make weight.
That too, because then that's a
Fig
good point.
and Cody are gonna blow weight, and it's gonna be a 135-pound fight for nothing.
Okay, well,
I mean,
potentially say they both make weight. I'm still taking Figueiredo in that fight, but I do like Cody's chances, especially if he fights smart and kind of relies on the counter and kind of keeps his distance. Because I think in order to beat Figgy, and I call him that just because whatever, but
I think I'm trying to remember.
I think what you do is Cody Garbrandt kind of has to just gauge his distance, stay back, and instead of just relying just more on bull rushing and doing hooks, which you'll never want to do against Figueiredo, kind of wait for Figueiredo to kind of drop his weight forward, then look for the single or even double, and then just cut. I don't know. I think Cody needs to use his wrestling, because I think he'll be there, especially someone who's kind of. That's my opinion, because when I was watching Figueiredo fight Benavidez, sure, Figueiredo was precise, but I don't know. It's a fight I think that Cody's going to have to use his wrestling. Even though he's more of a defensive wrestler, so I guess it really doesn't matter.
I think it's going to be one of those sad fights where it's going to come down to Fig hit hard, Cody can't take hit. And like how long is that gonna last? And also, his chin's not gonna get better losing 10 pounds.
No. Yeah, it's interesting though too because there's still just that chance of can Cody knock him the fuck out? Probably.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like
for sure. I mean, they both hit hard as fuck.
Because here's the thing: if Cody wins that fight, and say he starches Figueiredo, like the main excuse would be, well, okay, he's a former bantamweight champ who went down, and that's not a bad thing. That still makes the flyweight division competitive, but it also kind of downplays the competitiveness of the flyweight division, so it also would be a bad look for that division too. Because he'd be doing essentially what Tito Dillashaw said he would do, right?
I guess, but like, what are we doing with these fucking white dudes from California? Then
at this point, what the fuck is Cody gonna do? He's in limbo, so it's like, okay, bro, now you're the flyweight champion. You have to defend this belt. I mean, you don't have to. You could say, fuck this. I just wanted to prove a point.
Yeah, I don't know. The egregious matchmaking to try to get white champions at this point is starting to get, like, fucking really gross. Because honestly...
He said that to Dana. He's like, bro, it doesn't matter if he's white. Look how many fucking...
I mean, honestly, let's like, can you name challengers that they keep throwing at the title, even despite a fuck ton of losses or non-reasons to get title fights? How many of them are not super white? Like, Max Holloway's the only one, but it's Max Holloway.
They could have been smart and just given it to a minority fighter, and I'm not...
They were going to try and give Holly Holm a title fight off if she won that fucking fight last weekend. I guarantee it.
I'm not characterizing this great fighter based on his ethnicity, because that's bullshit. He's a great fighter, but they should have just given the title shot to, like, Brandon Moreno.
Dude, 100%. That's like...
That'd be great.
He has way more credentials, at least.
Yeah.
Or at least have Cody and Brandon Moreno fight for a title shot. Like, either of those makes perfect sense. But
yeah, I like Cody. I don't like that fight. Would be cool if he wins, I guess. But I don't know.
It just it doesn't, like...
He's not getting a bantamweight title shot without another win at bantamweight, and that has to be against, like, fucking Moraes.
Well, yeah, and, like, his Assunção fight was... While a good win, there was some shit in that fight that, like, go rewatch the finish of that fight and where that punch comes from, because it's not quite not Pat Duffy, fucking
Todd Duffy.
Todd Duffy, yeah, it's not quite a Todd Duffy Sharkeisha hook, but like it's not a Todd Duffy Sharkeisha. He's holding the fence behind him before he throws it.
Hey. You see me ducking? Where do you think I'm doing right now?
It's aggressive. We'll put it that way. But the other thing that I noticed in that episode, well, first off, they were just lighting each other on fire the whole time, Ant and Jed. And then Jed, of course, edges it out because he knows how to play to Casey Leiden's strengths, and he compares Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. right now as the equivalent of Kimbo Dada of boxing.
You see that fight just got delayed again?
Okay, well, then it's just not happening, right?
Yeah, so originally it was supposed to be, September, now it's November.
August, I thought, the first announcement.
It was supposed to be, September 12th.
Yeah.
And now it's, November 28th. It's, right after Thanksgiving. It's, okay.
One of them's going to die before that fight happens. Sorry, was that morbid?
I mean, I hope not, because I like both those guys. But...
I mean, I don't know. Go relook at some Mike Tyson quotes. I saw Trent Ryan-Smith put one out today where he's like, the best punch I ever landed was the backhand I hit my girlfriend where she bounced off every wall. Like, oh, Jesus, dog. not only not that funny, but also, Jesus. You're a professional fighter. Not a great look. Also probably factual. So while we're moving on, let's see. Do you have any other? You said you had another catch this week, right?
Yeah, it's Believe You Me 245. Because
which one was that? Oh, the Sean O'Malley one.
Sean O'Malley,
dude. This one is funny. Before you get into it, this episode opens up a little rough.
Oh, it is rough because Michael Bisping doesn't know about smog tests in the United States, or doesn't know it's called a smog test.
Yeah, that's one of many rough things at the beginning of this one.
I know Lewis talked about the kind of car he's going to buy. I was like, all right. The Paulo Costa, Ricky Martin deepfake of Izzy is pretty, as Lewis put, it's difficult to masturbate to, Michael, okay? There, I said it.
First off, we all know that Lewis definitely did not have difficulty masturbating to that.
Yeah, no. He's like,
I've seen him blowing Bobby Kelly. I know what's good.
So then they discuss PEDs, as in what is a PED, because they brought up the fact that Tim Elliott and who's the other fighter got suspended for the marijuanas.
There was 3 of them. Here, I'll pull it up. Keep going.
So either way, Sean says, well, coffee's more of a PED than weed.
Yeah.
Which
caffeine,
I agree.
100%. I think there's a level on caffeine you can have in your system, right?
I think so.
I believe so. It's Jamal Hill, Tim Elliott, and there was one other person.
Then they have a big kind of awkward talk about weed because I mean I wouldn't be surprised if
it's fucking Luis Pena is the other one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Bisping ever dabbled in the greenery in his youth. But then again though, probably not, because in the United Kingdom, if you even have like a couple of grams of weed, they put you like in jail, dude. So
yeah,
I really hate weed.
I bet DJ Mikey B got his hands on some weed. You know what I'm saying, baby boy?
Hell yeah, doggy.
God damn it, that show. They're starting to literally turn into like a morning radio catchphrase machine at a certain point.
I think they
do it as like a gimmick.
I think it's funny.
I do too, because they do it very.
You know what's funny about that? That you said that during the pay-per-view that Bisping made his debut on.
He said, "Baby boy."
Yeah, there was a heavyweight fight. He's like, "Yeah, baby boy."
That's right, baby
the
boy.
Guy, like, knocks him out. I was like, "No way."
100%, I got that. I was like, Jesus, Luis Gomez right now is beating off to this.
Yeah. Then Sean had a good interview discussing what he did in his time 2 years off. A lot of it was strength and conditioning, kind of growing out his frame. A lot of it was meditation. He's like getting the mental health right, the state of mind right. He said he wasn't ever really what he said he hated.
Yeah.
What's up?
I was just gonna say by meditation he means microdosing and meditation, right? I mean, he didn't name drop microdosing on this show, but I've heard him name drop it on his own.
Either way, I'm not gonna knock that. Whatever works for anyone.
We have friends that are into microdosing that they swear by it.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. He said he listened to. So since he said he wasn't really a writer, he didn't like writing in school. He was more of an auditory learner. So he says he's been listening to a bunch of podcasts to get different perspective from top level practitioners, which I think is cool.
I would love. I might have to hit up. I might have to drop into like one of his Twitch streams or something and see if I can get a list of podcasts that he's into. I have a feeling though it's gonna be like a lot of like. Fucking Tim Ferriss and like Joe Rogan-esque motivational speech shit. That's the one thing a lot of times.
Robbins.
It's I mean, a lot of times the problem is like fighters like I'm getting really into more like people more knowledgeable about myself about the mental game. And then it's like fucking gurus, bro. See what I've been listening to gurus and people who walk long distances. It's like, all right, it's not the kind of podcast I'm looking for, my guy. I don't need anyone to tell me, hey, bro, walking is gonna, like, I know, I've heard Rogan's podcast for the last 1,400 years.
Did you see that motherfucker, his studio he's making in Texas, where the fuck he's moving?
Yeah, I can't wait for when he realizes weed's legal out there.
Yeah.
I mean, not that like it's gonna affect him at all because he has the Willie Nelson money to not have that problem. But also, I like that Trent Reinsmith actually did the dirt on this. He's like, oh, by the way, everyone knows the reason Rogan's leaving California is because they're trying to tax millionaires, right? Like the tax that he's complaining about Gavin Newsom is because they're taxing millionaires, and Rogan's made $100 million. So he's not going to give the state of California a huge chunk of that $100 million, which is why he's moving to Texas.
Yeah, that's also why he's doing it before. So what would it be, $130,000?
It's also why he's doing it before the Spotify deal goes into effect, because then technically he doesn't have the money to the state of California.
What part of Texas is he moving to? Okay. Thank you. I was
the rumor is he's buying a club out in Austin.
I'm glad you said Austin because I'm like, what's the most liberal part of Texas? Austin?
And that's the rumor from Doug Stanhope's road manager. I'm not going to name drop him, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Stanhope said that he talked to Rogan and like hinted that before all the news came out that Rogan's probably moving to Austin, and then the road manager, whose name I almost just said, he said like, oh yeah, the rumor is that Rogan's buying a club out there, which is fucked because Rogan could have stayed in California and bought the Comedy Store and saved it, but you can't lose all that tax money to the man. So fuck the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Anyway. Shit's sad in comedy right now for a lot of reasons, which is why you should go watch Doug Stanhope's new special where he says horrific things that are very funny. Anyway, now that we're moving off the depression fucking train that I drag this show into all the time, Chris, what else did you have on that episode? Anything?
No, except that he meditates every morning.
Yeah.
And stretches a lot.
That's cool. They talk about,
he talks a lot about
what's his upcoming fight, too?
Shit, too. What's up?
What's his upcoming fight?
Chito Vera. This Saturday.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Not that I wrote down. I know, I believe, fuck. I think Chito...
You believe fuck?
I think, yeah, I believe fuck. I think Chito trained... I think he trained with Jason Perillo. I think Chito was training under him. I think that's why Michael knows Chito.
Interesting.
I think they talked about that, but I'm probably wrong.
No, you could be right.
Because I know Sean is still with his own crew in Phoenix.
Yeah, he's with the lab, right?
I'm going to look this up right now. What the fuck? I think Cheeto's with Mike.
That actually sounds familiar, because I remember Bisping talking about he knew Chito Vera. He might be training at... No, he's not training at Corderos. I know he's from Ecuador, so I wouldn't be surprised if he trained with like somebody like Perillo when he came to the States. Because I would assume he's probably hanging out in the States right now.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Chito Vera is with Jason Perillo. Yeah, with Michael Bisping's gym and Ruka Gym.
That's interesting. Then
so Michael Bisping has definitely seen him at his gym. That's cool. Yeah.
Cool, man. Let's see. So my other catch for this week is the MMA Ratings Interview Series, Episode 4, which
I haven't heard from them in a while.
I love MMA Ratings. It's Rafael Garcia and Sean Humes. Matt Hume, Sean Humes. I really hope I'm not fucking that up. I wasn't not sure about it until the second I said it out loud, and then I had a full-on panic attack. Black Jordan Breen on Twitter, if you need a more accurate reference. But I love their show, and recently Rafael Garcia has been doing interviews with some people in the industry, and he recently just did one with Gina, aka G Spot MMA, or G from Woe TV, the podcast, and it's just fucking great. It's kind of just a backstory on how G got into MMA, kind of her thoughts on Ronda back in the day, and kind of the emotional roller coaster that was Ronda's career, enjoying like authentic heels, guys like Koscheck, as compared to like guys like Colby, where it's just super inauthentic. G's legendary Twitter beefs. She talks a lot about interviewing fighters, which she talks a lot about this actually throughout the episode, and it's one of the reasons why I really like both Woe TV and Mike and G's content that they put out like on Fight Week and stuff. It's because they are always the people asking, not like, how's your camp going? What fucking food do you like to eat when you're not cutting weight? Like, all that boring shit that literally every single fucking person asks. They never ask that shit, and a lot of times they ask kind of hard questions. She actually referenced the Macy Chasson interview. I always panic and almost try and say Macy's name like it's French instead of Louisiana. Or I don't know if she's technically... Anyway, let me not try to dissect between different Louisiana cultures. I was about to try and just determine on the fly whether she was Creole or Cajun, and I just completely bailed. So,
well, she's white, so I would venture Cajun, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, but like that's kind of not how that works down there. Always, it's a whole thing, Chris.
I know. I'm just being ignorant and white.
Yeah, I know. Fucking goddamn.
Or excuse me, ignorant and olive. Or off-white.
There you go. 100%. Fucking Jean Lafitte over here. Alright. Anyway. So, yeah, she talks about a lot of her Twitter beefs and how her interview style is. They always try and ask questions that are way offbeat, but can kind of be rough. Oh, right. And that's how I got to Macy Chasson is their interview with her is G they're kind of mutual friends with somebody, and so G got Macy on to talk about like hard questions about like, hey, are there like groupies for female MMA fighters, and like what is it like being like one of the female MMA fighters that are lesbians that are not like the like lipstick, and apologies for the general clarification, but like a more of a, I believe she used the word more of a masculine presenting lesbian. I'm trying to phrase that in a way that like is not me sounding like I'm from the fucking 80s hanging out in Jersey. Yeah. But it's really interesting, and it's why I like the conversations they bring up. Also, they talk about G in general just being a black woman, like not only on MMA Twitter but in the MMA space, because there's not a lot of voices for black people in general in the MMA space. There's just not a lot of them. And they're drowned out by a lot of loud white dudes in their 40s or late 30s. Shouts out to us, because we are absolutely part of the demographic that is the demographic. And that's why I always enjoy hearing from voices that aren't that. Because I feel like there's a lot of us out there. There's not a lot of people giving perspectives on shit like G, that like G and Mike and Kairos and Chisanga are. So it's really cool hearing that, and hearing Schwan kind of give his, not Schwan, I apologize, Raphael giving his takes on it too. And yeah, just really cool, interesting discussion that I love to hear more of in the sport. Like, I always love a diverse voices, because the only way you're going to hear shit or consider shit that you didn't think about is from hearing from people who are living a different existence than you are, That's just how that works. So I always appreciate diverse opinions and fucking positions in life. So thought it was a really interesting interview. And also, G's just fucking hilarious. On top of all that, she is super funny, and she will dunk on just about everybody. So big recommendation for MMA Ratings Interview Series Episode 4. And just MMA Ratings in general. I love that show. So big ups.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting listen.
Yeah, it's really good. And like I say the same thing about both Raphael's interviews in general and Gina and Woe TV stuff. Is like every single interview will ask a question, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard that asked before, which is super fucking rare for how many podcasts we listen to. Like, I think we even understate how often we hear the exact same things phrased the exact same way, and half the time it literally came word for word from a UFC broadcast. That, like, it's so refreshing to hear people asking and thinking about things that are way outside the bounds of what we normally hear. So, I enjoy it. Well, geez, I am going long, evidently. So, I don't have a skip this week. I don't know about you. I almost had a skip, but like, I got you. Yeah. That is, we'll get to that later.
It's well-rounded.
Yeah, that is, well, it could, well, because it's 0% about MMA. But yeah, it was a good episode. Yeah. Well, I have a can't miss. We'll get to that, and then we'll get to the new show. But my can't miss for this week is Severe MMA, the Patreon episode with Ben Cartledge, where he talks about judging on Fight Island. You guys will hear a clip on the break of it, but man, there is not a show out there that talks about judging in a more informative way. It's not close. It's just not close. I guess the only one that's even close is John McCarthy on his show with Josh Thompson that I am spacing on the name of. It's not Sammy and the Punk. It used to be Sammy and the Punk.
And it's
so
not
Let's Get It On. That was John McCarthy's old show.
Yeah. I know.
Is fuck. I can picture the logo. They just put Weighing In. Fuck, it took me a second. It's Weighing In with Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson. That is probably the second most informative judging show. But these judging episodes that Sean Sheehan does with Ben Cartledge are absolutely incredible, and they are invaluable to the community. If you're not listening to these, as far as I'm concerned, you probably shouldn't be talking about judging on your show in general. I mean, if you're not constantly, or if you're not at least listening to opportunities to listen to judges about this kind of stuff, then number one, you odds are you might not be using the right judging criteria, and number two, I would question why you would not be interested in this kind of content. I don't know. It's just all around informative. Ben talks a lot about not only the process of getting to Fight Island, which was kind of crazy. Since the last card he did prior to Fight Island was the last Cage Warriors card in the UK. And then he went to Abu Dhabi, signed up for that. He talks about all the testing and quarantining protocols he went through. And he talks, Sean actually, one question I'm really glad Sean asked, because it's something I didn't think about, but he asked how much like prep the judges did kind of to refresh themselves, since it's been months since they've judged a card. And he said, Ben actually said that they had Zoom meetings a couple times throughout the week with the other judges, and they would just meet up and pick out some like tough fights or just random fights and score them, and everybody give their rounds and talk about why they gave the scores for each round, which is like something that. Yeah, you wouldn't think about that happening, but it's really cool to hear they're doing that kind of stuff. And that's a perfect example of why I love these episodes with Ben Cartlidge, because you don't, again, aside from guys like John McCarthy or occasionally Herb Dean here and there on like Joey Diaz's podcast, like you don't really hear a lot of judges or refs talk about kind of the process throughout the week, and kind of you rarely hear them open up in such a kind of process driven way, where he talked about his whole process through the week. He talked about all kind of different scorecards and how he saw them, and kind of how the judges would talk in between, in between fights, and they'd be surprised by some scorecards, like, oh shit, you gave that round to that dude, or some stuff like that. So really interesting overall. Also, on a side note, just because I know Chris is a fucking nerd like I am, he brought a Mega Drive Mini with him, which is you would know as a Genesis Mini. Yeah, like a Sega Genesis,
okay, that's what I assumed you meant.
Yeah, so Mega Drive is Genesis in the UK. Yeah. So yeah, he brought that with him, and so he was playing a bunch of like pocket billiards and stuff with other judges and stuff throughout the week, which I thought was dope. Because if you guys don't know, he also has the YouTube channel One Credit Classics, which is really cool. He's super fucking good at old games, and so I'll put in one credit and beat the shit out of like insanely hard stuff that I like, goddamn Ghosts and Goblins, which I'm terrible at, and it's a sight to behold. But yeah, it's really interesting overall. One of the things I thought was really cool they brought up is, well, actually two things. Number one, it's having to judge rounds that are really close except for 30 seconds where it's just straight chaos. And like how those are like the hardest rounds to judge, because nothing happens, and then it's just like a bunch of chaos, and like, how do you think the chaos went? And so he talks about those being tough. He also talks about how there was a 10-7 card given out at Fight Island, or at Yaz Island, since I refuse to acknowledge Fight Island.
Fight Rari Island.
Yeah, Fight Rari Peninsula. But he talks about the 10-7 being given, and how it's a great example of very confident judging. Because if you're given a 10-7, you are so confident in your knowledge of the rule set for 10-8 versus 10-7 that you are willing to do that, because you're kind of putting your neck out there for criticism. That was interesting. And then they talk about just some recent fights, some close rounds like Whitaker versus Till, draws, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just overall an incredible discussion on judging, and also just in general, Ben Cartlidge is great. Like, he's just very personable, and we all love Shawnee podcasts, and so yeah, can't recommend it highly enough, man. Every time he does one of these, I'm probably gonna recommend it, because they're good every single fucking time. And I feel like the world needs more good in-depth discussion on just not only the idea of judging and the process of judging, but kind of just specific examples. And I feel like that's how we all get better, right?
I agree. And while you're on the subject of Shawnee podcast, I'll mention real quick, it's more of a mention I just listened to today, is non-Patreon, episode 274. It recapped last night.
Oh, that's the one from today?
Yeah.
Nice.
He basically talked about what he kind of just analyzed Weidman's career as far as like his really highs, because he had really big highs. Obviously, he derailed.
Oh, yeah.
Anderson Silva
twice.
Weidman looked unstoppable at one point, but one question that he brought up was what happens to Chris Weidman's career if Chael escapes Anderson's triangle? That's a fun question. He talked about Chris Weidman's performance against Antigulov. What the fuck was that guy's name?
No, wait.
No.
Akhmedov?
Akhmedov. Thank you.
Omar Akhmedov.
He was number 11. So they said there were some 10-8 rounds in that fight. I think they said one went to Weidman for sure. I scored it for Weidman either way, especially that third round. That was a weird fight. Anyways, they were saying, well, who should he fight next? I'm like, should he fight Darren Till? I'm like, no. They think Darren Till just knocks him the fuck out early.
Yeah. The problem is Chris Gass is too hard nowadays. That I don't see that going great. I would like to see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't pull up
the one fight that was fun that they were kind of matchmaking with, and I think I'm down for it, but I think it's still a massive step up for him. Maybe not. They want to do Beneil Dariush versus Tony Ferguson, but they said also Dariush didn't even make weight this fight, so who knows? My favorite portion was they discussed the future of the heavyweight division, regardless of either winner. So they said they think it's predictable. They said if DC wins, they think he retires, and then they think basically John Jones sends out a tweet and then he unretires to fight him at heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then they said if Stipe wins, they think he just fights Francis again because he wants to prove he can beat him twice.
All right, here's a pitch for you. What if Weidman fights Omar Akhmedov next? Sorry, I read the wrong name because I was
going to say, is that the guy he just beat?
It absolutely is. I meant Ian Heinisch, who just recently lost to Omar Akhmedov before his win over Gerald Meerschaert.
I don't hate that.
I also wouldn't hate Gerald Meerschaert as a fight for Weidman at this point.
I like that.
Although it's hard to give him Meerschaert coming off a win, but I think Heinisch, it's going to be a tough fight. I think Chris will definitely lose the third round, but he might take a round off Heinisch early. I don't know. Seems like it'd be interesting. Or Antonio Carlos Jr., Shoeface. When's the last time Shoeface fought?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
It was lost to Uriah Hall in September. Actually, you know what? I would love to see the Chris Weidman Shoeface fight. I think that'd be fun as hell.
I like
some good grappling in that.
Yeah, that'd be a good grappling match. So let's hope that happens. The only other catch I have, and I'll just get because I know we're kind of running.
Oh shit! I didn't know you had another catch.
Sorry, just one more. It's a new podcast for me. It's called A Casual's Guide to MMA, and this isn't to confuse yourself with Jack Slack's write-up of A Filthy Casual's Guide. This is called A Casual's Guide to MMA.
I've heard of it. I have never listened to
it. Anish and Abi. They sound like they're either Indian or Pakistan. Pakistani.
The name
I can't
sounds
tell.
along those lines.
But I'm going to assume they're Indian. Yeah, I like these guys a lot because they really kind of broke down and they had some decent analysis with like style matchups and just so the one that I listened to, they had discussed Brunson versus Shabazz. They said this card in general, Shabazz. They said this card tied Habib versus Iaquinta for the shortest card ever, and they said you can thank Conor McGregor for that. They said Shabazz has all the tools to be a great fighter. They thought he took the first round. They said Brunson took the lack of takedown defense to his advantage and grinded out Shabazian to tire him out and get that TKO win because, that's where we kind of know. It's like, oh, fuck, this kid's tiring out, gassing out quick.
Yeah, also shout out to our fucking picks for that. Oh, wait. Shout out to my picks for that.
And they said also shouts out to how many times do they have to mention that Ronda Rousey is Shabazian's manager?
Oh, my God, dude. How many times do I have to hear Ronda talk about how he's a wonder?
By the way, spoiler, I actually didn't even catch this fight. So,
oh, really?
No.
It went, basically, Shabazian
I know I picked
looked good
Shabazian. I saw how it finished.
Yeah, Shabazian looked good for like 6.5 minutes and then just completely gassed and fell apart.
Okay.
Well,
luckily
Brunson
for him,
beat
he still
the fuck out of him so bad that it should have gotten ended.
I saw that. I saw that.
No, well, yeah, you saw the end of the second where he was like almost unconscious.
Yeah. And
then Edmund Tarverdian's like, "Hey, bro, good news. I know you got head movement." Go on back out there. And like 10 seconds later,
champ.
Herb's like, please stop bludgeoning this man.
Yeah. So they said they thought Herb Dean gave Shabazian a chance without giving him too much damage.
No,
they said, was there a moment of doctor interference? I mean, I didn't watch the fight.
That's a shitty narrative that Dana gave out. Essentially, what happened is people don't realize you don't call the doctor in for that kind of check during the corner work because you have to give them 60 seconds. The correct procedure is you bring in the doctor, like when the round's about to start, call time, you bring the doctor in, let the doctor check the cut or the fighter or whatever. Doctor approves, you then start the round, and we're going. It was like 15 seconds. Trent Rhinesmith timed it. Dana White's like out here, oh, fucking, we gave him 10 minutes. The doctor's out here for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what's going on. It's 15 seconds. And it's proper protocol. So
they also said Joanne Calderwood should have stuck with her original Muay Thai plan where she establishes the jab initially and just kind of gauges distance and picks apart her opponent. But instead, she was trying to make a statement and look for a quick finish, and it backfired completely.
I super disagree with that take, but...
then again, I didn't watch this fight, so I can't agree or disagree.
Yeah. I mean, no. Jennifer, I had a... whatever. I had a bad take on how that fight was going to go, and I still said Jennifer Maia's going to jab her from the outside, if I remember right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like people don't watch a lot of female fighters' careers prior to the UFC at all. And so they have zero concept of what, like, no one knows how to say Julia's fucking name correctly. I heard 1,400 people call her Julia, even though she had one of the Fight of the Year candidates in Invicta last year. So, I don't know. Motherfuckers need to put some respect on WMMA's name in the fact that, like, at least watch the fights, you know?
Yeah.
I'm also grumpy curmudgeon about everything.
The last thing I'll mention is they said Vicente Luque was 10 times better than Randy Brown. However, don't get caught up in that because why are you calling out Nate Diaz? He's just not going to care.
Well, yeah, it was just a bad call out, but like also, like, I don't know. Sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Let us see. What was... Oh, I had a new show also, actually. Actually, I have two new shows. Oh, fuck! And I just dumped this drink all over my legs, which is great.
Oh, no.
That's a good sign. Fucking Moscow mules aren't sticky, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that'll be fun later. Oh my god, this does not feel comfortable. Okay, moving on. I listened to a new show, two new shows technically. First is called Couchside Judges, episode 39, and remember how I just talked about a show that has a lot of very technical, by the rules judging? It's all they focus. I should have mentioned more specifically. They focus very strongly on the ABC MMA rule set that is currently in effect, and that is the way the judges are technically supposed to score fights, right? This podcast doesn't do any of that shit.
Oh, cool.
This is hosted by Scott Fontana and Dan Irvin. And so they look back at judging on cards, or on specific fights. This one was for Chandler versus Henderson II prior to the Chandler versus Henderson rematch. And they score fights wrong. I don't know how else to put it. They intentionally do it wrong. They call it a modified version of the ABC rules, where they are saying their version is they focus more on the 3Ds of the 10-8, which is dominance, damage, and duration. And so they say if it's a close round, but someone's a winner, it's a 10-9. If it's a strong 10-9, then they're calling that a 10-8. And if it's a 10-8, they're calling it a 10-7. Which is weird. They also are not using the aggressiveness and cage control factors as tiebreakers. And then they're doing round-by-round breakdowns of the fight. It's interesting because it does lead to interesting discussions about like the closeness of rounds, right? Because you look at like, for example... Henderson or Chandler versus Henderson, like one of those, judges even gave it a 10-8. I think it was the first round. which means it would be a 10-7 on their scorecard. But whereas like some of those other rounds in that fight were like very slim margins. So it leads to kind of interesting discussions about that. It is weird. Like, I know Sean Sheehan is probably fucking rolling over it. Well, he's not in his grave, so I don't... he's rolling...
He's rolling his eyes.
There you go. Yeah, he's doing that. I was going to say he's rolling over on his bar stool, because I assume they're allowed back into bars over in that country, because they're goddamn adults who wear masks! But, yeah, no. It's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I would have to listen to more of the show. It makes for... I feel like that show would be a lot cooler if they would just actually go by the real scoring system. Or if they would do both. I would like that as well. Which they kind of do. They kind of say like, oh, in the old system, or in the actual system, this would be a whatever. But under our rules, it's a whatever. It's an interesting discussion to have. I just don't know... I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest, after listening to it. I feel like this is one of those shows that, I'm subscribed to them. I'm going to listen to more of them and kind of get a feel for it further, but it's interesting. It at least has my attention peaked, but I don't know how I feel about it yet, to be honest.
Yeah, it does sound...
Like, it's kind of a cool concept, but it's also... I don't know. It seems kind of fruitless, right? Like...
Yeah.
What's our end game, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, I don't know. Interesting nonetheless. And then the other news show that I listened to is the Art Fight Podcast, which I've been meaning to listen to for a while now, episode 99. Chris Rini guest for the second time, who I'm a big fan of. You guys know Chris Rini from Bloody Elbow. He does all the MMA Squared articles with the Post-it note style sketches and everything. And just all-around badass artist and dope motherfucker on Twitter. I'm a big Chris Rini fan. But this show is hosted by Joe Nolan and Brian Siskind, I believe is how you pronounce it. And they just kind of talk to Chris about how he lives in Jackson Heights, which is right near the hospital that's in the epicenter of the New York COVID kind of thing that went down. It's right in the center of everything that happened. He said it's been a kind of a crazy experience. He literally saw people like dying on the street.
Jesus.
Kind of shit where it's like you see people like, because I think he said his coffee shop was like a block or two from like the hospital that was overrun in New York. That was like fucking real bad. So it's interesting getting his take on that. I've been following him on Twitter and everybody in New York that I follow and that I know is they have crazy, crazy stories about how it's gone over there, which is why you hear them taking a lot of this shit way more seriously, and respect to them for it. But yeah, it's interesting. And so a big reason why they got Chris on, and part of the reason why Chris went on the podcast, which big props for him to him for doing this, but he went on because there was a little bit of drama on Twitter about him questioning. So Ariel posted some and used some artwork that a fan sent in, right?
Okay.
And so there was like, and Chris was like, "Yo, are you paying this artist for this shit, or are you just doing it for exposure? Because fuck doing things for exposure, kind of thing." And the artist and Ariel came out and were like, "Yo, no, this was like we talked and this was a thing." Which is like, that's fair. And Chris even said like, "Yo, I should have asked you ahead of time and stuff," but instead of just like saying it's bullshit that they're doing stuff for exposure. But he's like, but my point was, it was one of those moments where your career cross-sects with MMA and fuck exposure. He's like, it wasn't really necessarily about Ariel or the artist. It's the fact that ESPN, a $50 billion company, should be paying artists for their work if they're going to be using it on fucking broadcasts, which is a super fair criticism. And that's kind of what this is all about, or this episode specifically. Just kind of the idea that, like, art should be compensated, and the idea that, like, everything is just for exposure, and the idea that you should make less money if you're doing something you enjoy is all bullshit. And it's just a lot of really interesting conversations about that. It talks about dealing with Vice after certain editors left and kind of those weird exchanges and like the strength of self-publishing. And at one point, he uses, I believe the line is, MMA is kind of like I think Chris said at one point he wanted to do an article or something on the idea that MMA is the physical embodiment of postmodernism with like the idea that you're blending styles, genres, and time periods. Which is like, it's that kind of shit that you got from that episode, which is like, it's just really interesting, like, kind of somewhere between art theory and art business theory.
Seems pretty semi-deep.
Well, and not just that, but like, just very, like, it all kind of ties together in interesting ways, you know? So, I just really enjoyed it, and plus, I like Chris Rainey. I think he's a funny dude, and both Joe and Brian I really enjoyed on this episode as well, so... I don't think I'd ever heard the Art Fight podcast before. I know they've been on my list for a while, but I'm really glad I checked them out, and I'm definitely going to be listening going forward. It's fucking great.
Nice, man. Yeah, I was like, just kind of like deep dive into perspective and,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you have any other honorable mentions that are MMA related?
Yeah, all things MMA, honorable mention. They talked a lot of boxing, which I don't mind because boxing is exciting again, except for that one fight that we will not acknowledge.
Oh, you mean the fucking geriatric fight?
That one, yeah. And then there's another one that definitely will not happen, but they keep trying to... Never mind, I'm not even going to fucking mention that.
Yeah.
Because they talked about that a lot. Yeah. So if you're a boxing guy, the social media warrior Ryan Garcia actually has a fight, which is interesting. So we'll see if he actually is legit. He's fighting Luke Campbell, former, I think, lightweight or super lightweight champion, British boxer.
He's fighting the host of MMA? Oh, no, wait, that's Brian.
So that should be good. I'm excited to see. I think it's going to happen in September. I believe the woman beater himself, Gervonta Davis, has a fight again. But
which one? It's boxing, bro.
Yeah, Gervonta Davis. Floyd Mayweather, another woman beater, his disciple.
Yeah.
His protege. He's got a fight, and they're trying to figure out who they're going to give him a title, who's going to try to get his title. I don't know.
His floor is covered in Moscow Mule.
Either way, they did a lot of that. Yeah. And the last honorable mention I have is Half the Battle with Daniel Levy and Shaq.
Yeah. I like that show. They give fucking some brutal ass breakdowns on fights.
They just kind of say it as it is. I know we've kind of done that, but ours is more like...
I mean,
we're kind of more like being funny with it too, though.
Yeah, I try not to be
stupid,
mean, or rude. Which I'm not saying they are. But I'm saying sometimes that shit can be...
It can be brutal.
It can be brutal, yeah. I think that's the best way to phrase it, right? Brutally honest is probably the best way to phrase some of that. Especially if I remember Betch was... They had some feels about Betch. But then again, who doesn't have some feels about Betch? Let's see. Some honorable mentions for me. As you guys heard on the intro, the MMA Nerd, episode 69. Nice. It was fucking really good. She talks about how everyone on Twitter thinks everyone's secretly gay in the MMA space. And how everyone's like real mad about Izzy's pretty selfie. And he's like, I believe the line is, as you guys heard on the intro, I get it why some dudes are mad. That was a really pretty, or why some dudes are confused. That was a really pretty selfie, which I thought was fucking brilliant. And yeah, just it was an interesting discussion that she had at the top of that. I thought was really not only funny, but I don't know, made sense to me. Let's see, the Fight Site MMA podcast, episode 22 was really good. This is their second time recording, which I feel the struggle. Fucking recording problems are real as fuck, and everybody deals with them. I'm gonna butcher a dude's name, but I'm gonna go with Tumen Tushinov at Sheckelberger on Twitter, guested. And they talk about terrible game plans. It's just a really cool episode. Them talking about like everything from the conflicting corner work in Poirier versus Habib, where they were both telling him to like fight at range but get inside. and like weird stuff. They talk about Woodley versus Usman. They talk about Verdum versus Reem, and like the infamous fight in Strikeforce where he kept flopping. Yeah, it's really interesting. I liked it quite a bit. I think it's definitely worth a listen. Wocast Confessions. G was out this week on that show, so it was just Mike Karras and Chisanga. Talk a lot about the Nevada State Athletic Commission suspending fighters for weed. Jair not fighting Zabit. And then they previewed the Bellator 243 and UFC card.
Okay. I saw some upsetting news.
You want to save it for a minute? We'll get to it in a second.
Oh no, I'll save it. I'm just reacting a lot.
Is it MMA related?
Big time.
Is anyone in jail?
No.
Is it fight news? Like fight matchmaking news?
There is one.
Oh god. Okay, we'll get to it in a second.
That one's not upsetting though.
Okay. Oh god. But no one. Okay. We'll get to it. The co-main event live chat was good for August 5th, 2020. Kind of as a side note, the co-main event podcast about Kingdom, episode 9 and 10 for season 1. Man, I love them talking about the show Kingdom, and sadly, it looks like the fuckboys on Patreon who are $10 Patreons along with me. You can all eat all the dicks. They should finish that show. They should not switch to fucking, I don't know, fucking whatever weird sci-fi shit you want them to watch. Like, we don't need a Mandalorian fucking stream from the Co-Main Event podcast. It'd be much more interesting to hear more of Kingdom. I hate y'all. But then again, maybe it'll get us The Wire, so maybe I'm into it. But anyway, I love all their talk they've been doing about Kingdom. It's been great. Heavy Hands episode 328 was really solid. A lot of talk about Derrick Lewis versus the Bungalow Man, Alexey Oleinik. And Dariush versus Holzman, Hawk versus Munoz. Which shout out to Ashley, the MMA nerd, who asked the world why, if we should just start calling Gastelum Fat Hackparast instead of calling Hackparast Small Gastelum, in which I coined the phrase Fat Parast.
I just always called him Fat Salim, but yeah.
Yeah, Fat Parast really has a nice ring to it, though. Let's see. What the Heck, episode 19 is real good. Mike Heck had interviews with Cheeto Vera, Mike Hamill, and where Mike Hamill talks about training with Bendo at the lab and rollerblading. He also interviews Kevin Holland and Ashley Yoder, which, by the way, y'all want to make some money, bet against Ashley Yoder in the Olivia Nata-Souza fight, because she's going to get fucking wrecked on the ground. I don't see that going any other way. Grange TV, episode 70 we mentioned, where Rob is no longer on there. And Ray Sefo actually Skyped in, talk a lot about K1 and the PFL, which is pretty good. Top Turtle MMA, episode 233. They had interviews with Justin James, Yusuf Zalal, and Mma Kasangane. Sorry, probably said that wrong. MMA Stories for August 5th, 2020 was really good. They talk about the show that Monty Cox did, where Jeremy Horn and Pat Miletich fought. That was interesting. The Outsiders for August 5th, 2020 was also good. Verbal Tap, MMA, episode 420 with Kevin and Raph. They had actually a really good discussion about the Callan assault allegations, and I really enjoyed it. It was it was cool. One of them worked kind of in Hollywood, and they've both kind of interviewed both Brendan and Brian in the past and stuff. It was really cool. So Verbal Tap MMA episode 420, I recommend it. Plus, they had some really good weed jokes at the end of it, which I always appreciate. It was fun. I recommend that one quite a bit, actually. Keyboard Warriors, episode 207. Eddie had Fred Kirby on from the NSFW MMA show back in the day, and they talk a lot about Edmund's hype dying off after the loss of Brunson. And let's see, Maya's went over JoJo, and Jesse Skyped in. Just a fun show. I liked it quite a bit. Fights Gone By, episode 221 was solid. The Writer and the Fighter, episode 75, they are back, and a lot of good food talk in that. They also dropped that they hinted that Ed Herman got fucked by the UFC, which I believe news came out this week that Ed Herman got $10K for his canceled fight, wherein his show money was $60K, which is so fucked. considering he weighed in and everything. But
see, like shit like that just makes me just like almost just want to go back to supporting boxing, but there's also a lot of
but then it's
corruption in
worse.
boxing,
Yeah.
See, but it's like at least they get paid. No,
not unless they're the main event.
I know. That's my joke.
Yeah,
People don't realize.
Also, the Sherdog Radio Network MMA Dana White Contender Series Episode 1 2020 preview and prediction show that Keith Schilling did was real good. Like that quite a bit. And yeah, man, overall just a super fun one. Nice. Do you have any non-MMA related stuff? I believe we have one to touch on briefly, right?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Actually, I almost just forgot about that.
It was Joe. I'm guessing right now. It was Joe Rogan episode 1521 with the Josh and Jason from the Innocence Project. Which, if you guys have ever listened to either Joe Rogan's podcast or, more importantly, Doug Stanhope's podcast, you guys know about the Innocence Project, which is basically about an organization founded to help get wrongfully convicted prisoners out of jail. And yeah, just a great episode, really informative and super interesting.
Yeah, I don't even really want to talk about it much. I'd rather people just listen to it because it made me really sad. So I don't even want to go.
Don't do it unless it'll make you sad, guaranteed. But it's 100% worth listening to. It's super informative and super interesting. And also, shouts to some cool organizations. Like, for example, if you guys are in San Diego, you guys can buy weed from March and Ash, which is a local delivery and dispensary service down here, and they have weed from places like Farmer and the Felon down here, which Farmer and the Felon's whole mission here, actually I think I have it right on there, but their whole mission is to essentially that's blurry as fuck, but essentially they're working to like a big part of their profits all go towards helping felons with not only get out of prison for cannabis related crimes, but they also hire felons for like trimmers and growers and stuff like that to help work and all that. So really cool stuff, and big shouts to them and the Innocence Project for people like that who are doing the hard work that nobody wants to and that won't make them money, to be honest. Let's see. Chris, you have anything else you want to shout out as well-rounded?
That's it for me.
All right. The only other ones I had, Issues with Andy, episode 71, which is the 2020 episode of Last Seen Walking. So there was a 2020 episode about some girl who died and was murdered, and they were trying to figure it out. And Andy Andrist, the comedian on the Issues with Andy podcast, who is just, I'm not gonna call him a degenerate because like he has a house and like assumedly pays rent, but like let's just say this: Andy regularly finds himself on acid and naked to this day, and and so Andy grew up in a very weird small town of a lot of fucking child rapists called Coquille, Oregon. And it's a very small, weird town kind of outside Portland. And he has a lot of crazy stories. And some of the people who show up in those stories, who like buy him booze and are giant degenerates, also show up in this 2020 documentary as witnesses. And watching those two things side by side is fucking weird and funny. So I highly recommend that because it's goofy as shit and really surreal. Also, speaking of
mode, then and then I'll give you my honest. But I just did a couple quick fights, and the striking they improved a little bit.
It's weird.
It doesn't. I'm playing on a PS4 Pro. I don't know if there's a performance mode.
Is it either 60 frames or it feels?
Dude, so I need to make sure I have the game fully downloaded because I was playing whatever when it was still downloading. It seemed choppy as fuck. I'm like, dude, it should not be like this on the Pro.
No, it shouldn't be.
This is bullshit.
Because it wasn't choppy at all for me on the regular one. So
okay, so I'll try again. So it's probably not a fair assessment, but either way, I was terrible at submissions in like UFC 1 and 2, and they made it a lot easier, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. The clinch stuff, as I'm getting to use it more, I like it quite a bit. The striking, I'm still not completely sold on. It feels very different. Like, the last game, I believe Jeff Gersman at Giant Bomb said it's the last game was almost Dark Souls-esque in the amount of lead-up time and the amount of frames in certain attacks, where you're like, good God, if you want to throw an overhand, it's like 6 frames. It's really long. But in this one, I can't tell if it's actually 6, because I'm on just a regular ass TV. I'm not on a monitor, so I can't tell if it's 60 frames a second or if it just is so much more responsive that it feels like it's 60. It feels way more responsive than the last one, but I'm not sure that better. It kind of feels more arcadey. And the grappling system, I just turned it back to Legacy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll try it out tonight.
It's interesting. The career mode stuff, they're basically doing a super lazy version of 2K, of NBA 2K.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 100% like, we didn't get Spike Lee to write it. We just fucking basically made you a mute, and you walk through a bunch of series of this one guy we hired talking to you in different locations.
Yeah, he's your coach. Yeah.
And then, like, occasionally you'll see someone show up, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty lazy. There are some cool Legacy fighters, but not a ton. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what these next couple updates that are going to come out are going to look like. Because I was playing the EA Access trial version, Chris and I was. And they're supposed to have day 1 updates on the 14th that drop. So I'm curious to see what those look like. But we'll see.
The only other well-rounded app for video games, still streaming Ghost of Tsushima. I'm probably gonna do it tonight. Actually, it's been a while. It's fucking great. The combat's great. Performance mode's great. Even not even performance mode, the 30 frames, you can't even tell. Yeah. This is not choppy. Sucker Punch just did a fantastic job with that. My other well-rounded is the new Battle Royale game on Steam and PS4 called Fall Guys.
Yeah!
Knockout. That game is hilarious.
Dude,
I got a fucking
music
dub
stuck in my head yesterday. So bad.
Yeah, I got a fucking win yesterday. I think you saw that clip I sent you.
Actually, yeah, if you guys go on, you want to shout out your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's just
CMAD22, right?
CMAD22, yeah.
Yeah, if you search up CMAD22...
So do CMAD22 and then do a space after that, because you know how sometimes they force you to do suggested shit?
Or if you go to
some other asshole... Yeah.
If you go to our YouTube channel, it'll be in our suggested channels right on the side there.
Yeah. So most of the games I'll be doing there, I'll mostly be doing live streams of Ghost of Tsushima. I'll be uploading some stuff of Fall Guys. If I do a live stream of Fall Guys, it's probably going to be me playing with my brother and Pulver.
Yeah, I'll have to jump on.
I don't necessarily am going to include their audio in the party unless they give me permission, because I'm not like one of those. You know what I mean?
Like, use mine. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it's just going to be me drunk in the background talking about
either way, the only
other
game I might want to do, but I might not because I might rage, is I'm going to be doing ranked seasons again on MLB The Show.
Oh, there you go.
Because they dropped a lot of dope content. This is what makes Sony San Diego 1,000 times better than any EA product, is that they give you opportunities to get free dope content for your Ultimate Team, except the catch is you have to be kind of good at the game, which is fair, just play it a lot. And
they don't actively punish their player base is the difference.
Yeah, you can literally have an amazing team with no money spent. It's great. Like, they have Player of the Month programs. They have fucking this thing called Tops Now Player Awards, where... So, for example, Fernando Tatis Jr., the superstar shortstop for the Padres, today he just hit his 6th home run in like 4 games. The dude's on fire, right? So you already know he's probably going to get a Topps Now like 90 fucking amazing card for that, or he's going to get a Player of the Month for August.
Also, shout out to that Trevor Hoffman retro. I saw him put out.
Yeah, I was looking on Reddit. I'm only have like 8 points out of the 50 that I need to get him, because that's the one I'm like. Babe Ruth is 100.
Right.
I don't think I'm able to get Babe Ruth
Probably
because you have
not.
to beat a bunch of all-timer teams on Hall of Fame difficulty, and I don't want to actually rage trying to do that. So I'll probably never get that card. That's fine. But I just want Trevor Hoffman because everyone on Reddit is saying he's like unhittable when he's like a circle change. I'm like, oh well, yeah. I mean, that's how he was in his prime. So you need pro tip. You need bullpen help if you're playing ranked seasons. You can have a good starter, but once they start figuring your starter out, you need a good bullpen to kind of hold on to your lead. So, yeah, look out for me. I might be doing ranked season of the show, but it's most going to be Ghost of Tsushima, and it might be Pulver and I doing some shenanigans on the Fall Guys game.
Dude, I kind of love Fall Guys. It's so dumb, but so fun.
It's so fun.
Dude, I've legit had that theme song stuck in my head for like fucking 2 days. It's super catchy. Cool, man. Well, we will be right back here very briefly to recap this card that happened this weekend. We might talk a little bit about... I mean, we've already talked a lot about the card that happened last weekend, I feel like. And Contender Series was fun. I don't know that I have a lot to say about it necessarily, but it was fun. So we'll be back talking about that. And until then, everybody, you guys can listen to this clip. Oh boy, is it good. This is the clip of Ben Cartlidge talking about the joys of being a judge. And, man, it's, struggle is real. So we'll be right back.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Because I just went in there and just kind of it just felt like normal. I just judged kind of like normal, and because everyone thought I was an idiot, and now everybody thinks I'm all right. I was like, that's judging, mate. Like, that's 100%. Like your mental kind of process doesn't kind of change, and you can put in 5 cards that people agree with, and you can put in 5 cards that people disagree with, and for you, all 10 of those cards can be the right cards for the evening.
Yeah, that's
but
very true.
some nights you're the hero, and some nights you're the villain. Oh, no, it's not even that. It's like some nights you're the villain, some nights no one's asked.
Never the hero.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? I don't know why I said hero.
Yeah, that was incorrect.
Yeah, so, sometimes you're the villain, sometimes nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's what you're open for. You're open for nobody cares about anything you do.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Do you know anyone in the gay community? Because I do. I know people, and they would be interested. I know a bunch of lesbians. They would be interested. And how will they know, though, if she's not promoted? I don't know. It's just weird. And, like I was going to say, because I've put this on Twitter before, people are like, oh, so she should just be pushed because of her sexuality, blah, blah, blah. Like, Paige got pushed because of her titties. You know, like, I was talking about someone's relationship and exposing them to a whole market that they're a part of. How is that exploiting anything? Like, that's stupid. Stupid. It's exposing her to an audience of her peers. Promoting her to an audience of her peers. Like, duh. And I feel like a broken record. That's someone who's, like, more accepted. Like, Izzy can't even post a pretty self. And it is a pretty self. I understand some dudes probably confused.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Because I just went in there and just kind of it just felt like normal. I just judged kind of like normal, and because everyone thought I was an idiot, and now everybody thinks I'm all right. I was like, that's judging, mate. Yeah. That's 100%. Yeah. Like your mental kind of process doesn't kind of change, and you can put in 5 cards that people agree with, and you can put in 5 cards that people disagree with, and for you, all 10 of those cards can be the right cards for the evening.
Yeah, that's
but
very true.
Some nights you're the hero, and some nights you're the villain. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not even that. It's like some nights you're the villain, some nights no one's asked.
Never the hero.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? I don't know why I said hero.
Yeah, that was incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes you're the villain, sometimes nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's what you're open for. You're open for nobody cares about anything you do.
by the sound of violence.
Do you know anyone in the gay community? Because I do. I know people. And they would be interested. I know a bunch of lesbians. They would be interested. And how will they know, though, if she's not promoted? I don't know. It's just weird. And, like I was going to say, because I've put this on Twitter before, people are like, oh, so she should just be pushed because of her sexuality? Blah, blah, blah. Like, Paige got pushed because of her titties. You know, like, I was talking about someone's relationship and exposing them to a whole market that they're a part of. How is that exploiting anything? Like, that's stupid. Stupid. It's exposing her to an audience of her peers. Promoting her to an audience of her peers. Like, duh. But I feel like a broken record. That's someone who's, like, more accepted. Like, Izzy can't even post a pretty self, and it is a pretty self. I understand some dude's probably confused.
By the sound of violence.
Because I just went in there and just kind of it just felt like normal. I just judged kind of like normal, and because everyone thought I was an idiot, and now everybody thinks I'm all right. I was like, that's judging me. Yeah. That's 100%. Yeah. Like your mental kind of process doesn't kind of change, and you can put in 5 cards that people agree with, and you can put in 5 cards that people disagree with, and for you, all 10 of those cards can be the right cards for the evening.
Yeah, that's
but
very true.
Some nights you're the hero, and some nights you're the villain. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not even that. It's like some nights you're the villain, some nights no one's asked.
Never the hero.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? I don't know why I said hero.
Yeah, that was incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes you're the villain, sometimes nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's what you're open for. You're open for nobody cares about anything you do.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Because I just went in there and just kind of it just felt like normal. I just judged kind of like normal, and because everyone thought I was an idiot, and now everybody thinks I'm all right. I was like, that's judging, mate. Yeah. Like, that's 100%. Yeah. Like your mental kind of process doesn't kind of change, and you can put in 5 cards that people agree with, and you can put in 5 cards that people disagree with, and for you, all 10 of those cards can be the right cards for the evening.
Yeah, that's
but
very true.
some nights you're the hero, and some nights you're the villain. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not even that. It's like some nights you're the villain, some nights no one's asked.
Never the hero.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? I don't know why I said hero.
Yeah, that was incorrect.
Yeah, so, sometimes you're the villain, sometimes nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's what you're open for. You're open for nobody cares about anything you do.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back to recap a fight that I did not watch. Just kidding. Well, I'm not. We are here to recap yesterday's fight. If you were awake, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Oleinik.
That's right.
Or also known as UFC Vegas 6.
Let's not call it that, because it's not any of those things. You know how many cards there's been in Vegas? I'm gonna go with more than 6.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
You know how many cards there's been at the UFC Apex in Vegas? I'm gonna go with more than 6.
Yeah.
It's fucking. I hate their naming convention. There's a reason why we always go with.
Couldn't they literally have just said like UFC Apex 6?
No, they shouldn't even say that. They should say UFC name versus name.
Yeah.
Or UFC date. Or UFC city name versus name. But they argue it's all about them and not the actual fighters, which is why they intentionally promote it without the fighters' names, which is weird and counterintuitive and pretty shitty. But that's also why we always use, like, for example, the title of this episode is episode 168 recap of UFC Fight Night. I'm pretty sure he's with Malky, right?
Yeah.
So then Malky wrote the tweet, is all that means.
And then for the good news, well, it's bad news because Jeff Neal versus Neil Magny would have been really cool. Instead, we're now getting Robbie Lawler versus Neil Magny.
Dude, this is going to be... I was watching some of the Fight Site guys talk about this on Twitter, and I'm scared my feels are gonna get hurt. I'm scared that I'm gonna have to come to the realization that if Neil Magny volume decisions fucking Robbie Lawler with like barely landing pot-shotting jabs while Robbie just sits there and eats him on the forehead, it's gonna be a sad day. And I don't feel good about any of this now, the more I think about it. Could Neil Magny absolutely get clipped with the giant shot over the jab? Yeah. Am I very worried that it's going to make me very sad and that's not going to happen? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll have you recap most of the...
Well, before we do that, what are you drinking anything different? Drinking the same
thing? Some beer my brother picked up. It's not too bad. It's from Brooklyn Brewery in
Brooklyn,
New York. Yeah. It's called Defender IPA.
Interesting.
It's called a golden IPA. It's more like a dry IPA. It's very dry and crispy.
Interesting.
Refreshing. I like it. It looks like this, if you can see that.
Yeah, but their logo work and is always been fucking brilliant. They're like one of the old school craft breweries, like a Dogfish Head. They've been around forever. And big shouts to their head brewer, whose name I forget. It's actually not their head brewer anymore, I don't think. Oh my god, who's the dude who looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson that works for them and sounds like Neil deGrasse Tyson? Fuck.
The UFC is like the cosmos.
No, honestly, you guys have probably seen him. If you've ever seen the video, watch a beer expert determine light beer or cheap beer versus good beer. Fuck, what is his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. I always want to call him Michael Jackson, but it's not Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson's the guy who wrote the book. Garrett. Oh, I want to call him Gareth Reynolds, but that's comedian. Brooklyn Brewery. Oh, this is going to drive me fucking nuts. Garrett. It's Garrett Oliver. Garrett Oliver. Holy fuck. Sorry. I had to go through like a series of connections and fucking attempts to figure that one out. Yeah, Garrett Oliver is great from Brooklyn Brewery, and if you want to watch some of his content, he has a ton of great stuff on YouTube. Also, the Zane Lamprey episode that he did on probably 3 Sheets, but maybe Drinking Made Easy, one of those two. Anyway, real good. Where were we? Right, I'm talking about the beer I'm drinking. Which, yes. Chris, have you ever been to Burning Beard out here in El Cajon?
Still have not. And you know what? Let me look at their hours. I probably should do that tomorrow.
If you do,
because I'm off.
You know what?
You'll potentially join me because that'd be cool.
Maybe, or well, we gotta see when girlfriend Karen.
Okay.
Well, actually, I could come meet with you. Well, the problem is like girlfriend Karen's gonna get mad if I go somewhere and she doesn't go because I have been so strict about not going to places with people.
Well, then just don't tell her, because I'm not going to post on social media.
Fair. That's an option. And she definitely doesn't listen to this show anymore, so that's super an option.
I think you're in the clear.
Yeah, we might do that. Oh, that or maybe we'll do it Tuesday. We'll figure it out. But, you work Tuesday, right?
Well, if we do Tuesday, it's going to be early, because I work at 4.
Okay, well, we'll figure something out. But, I am drinking Burning Beard's Czech Pilsner, Normcore Pils, Normcore, and I fucking love Pilsners.
Good Pilsner's a good fucking Pilsner.
I'd say Pilsners are in my top 3 when I go to a brewery. I normally go like a West Coast IPA, or a porter, or a Pils, or like the 3 I go to.
I mean,
and then like
don't
sours,
say the name, but I'd say the brewery I work at has a very good Pilsner for sure.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Well, and like there's a very different. See, I lean less towards Mexican Pilsners. I lean more towards German Pilsners.
Yeah, and see, that's the caveat to that.
But they're they're essentially the same thing.
I'll say this: the brewer told us it's not really Pilsner, but don't tell anyone that. And I'm like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. But like that's how Mexican Pilsners generally are. Is like they're barely Pilsners or not quite even. They're like more like other variations on German styles that are like, and also that Pilsners are like so specific that it's very easy to become a not Pilsner, you know? Like a lot of German styles, like you go tiny bit off and you're no longer their classic style and you have to be something completely different. Like that's how you end up with a lot of wheat beers but not a lot of Hefeweizens, you know? Like, so understandable. But yeah, I love me some Pilsners. Pivo Pils from goddamn Firestone is like probably the best widely distributed Pilsner around outside of the German stuff. And man, or Czech stuff, or as long as it's not a
don't tell G6.
Well, that's very true. But yeah, very malty, not very hoppy. But man, really good, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I got some Chicago pizza, some deep dish pizza from my Chicago pizza.
That's not pizza, bruh.
It's fine. It's good, whatever it is.
You got a pie.
Yeah, no, I got a cheese and sauce pie, and I'm real fucking happy about it. All right.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so shouts to that. But we are not here to talk about any of that. We are here to talk about. I guess.
Are you sure? I'm kidding.
Well, you're right. That's mostly here what we're talking. The fake reason we're here, Chris, is to talk about fights. The real reason we're here is for us to drink beer and talk shit. But we all know that at this point. So why don't we get into the stuff that we were supposed to talk about? There was fights that happened this weekend. Do you want to start with Bellator 243?
Yeah, I only caught 2 fights.
Yeah, we'll talk about the main 2 because I don't have a lot to say about this card other than those. I mean, we can talk about some of I don't really have much to say about the undercard, and like I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Miles Jury got a win over
nice.
Georgie Karakhanyan. It was a split decision. I had it for Miles Jury, but I probably need to rewatch it. Curtis Millender dropped a fight to Sabah Hamasi, and Borix picked up a split decision over Hamill. Both those split decisions I do need to probably watch again. But
Sabah Hamasi, wasn't he from Black Zillions? No, he was at HET.
One of those, yeah, it's from that season.
Yeah. He was on top. And I remember Curtis Millender kind of looked like he'd be legit at 170 in the UFC, but he just kind of fell off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say. Shouts out to Chris Lencioni, or Chris Sunshine Williams, as he used to be known. Chris Sunshine Lencioni got the win
Lencioni.
Got the win over AJ Agazarm. Big win, but even more prominently, y'all probably saw him on Twitter for his stomach dick tattoo. Did you not see this?
Wait, what?
Oh my god, did you not see this? Just go on Twitter and just search Bellator dick tattoo, and I'm sure it'll come up.
That's gonna be great.
I mean, everybody commented on it. I'm trying to think about the specific fighters that commented on it. I don't think it was Rocco Martin, but it was somebody because he's in the hospital. It was somebody like Rocco Martin.
Oh, did they? Hold on, I gotta look at my phone. They locked me out of Twitter on my.
Yeah.
So Bellator dick tattoo.
Yeah, if you just look up Lencioni dick tattoo, that will probably come up. Lencioni dick tattoo. Okay, wait. You gotta be real careful with looking at these images.
I just said Lencioni tattoo.
That is probably the right.
Here's one. What the fuck is going on with that tattoo?
Yeah, you see it?
Oh, yeah.
So he said it's partially filled an angel, which is why it looks like that. But it's a hell of a look, right? Also, Chris is a funny guy. He used to train, and he still, I think, partially does train at ATT Portland with Jake Smith and Paige and everybody. But well,
I mean, it's a funny looking. It's a stupid looking tattoo, but it's kind of funny.
Well, like he said, he's like it's partially done. That's why it looks weird, but he's a good sport about it. Miles Jury getting the win, and I believe Miles Jury is on the. I want to see either on that was the I think he has one fight left in his contract. Which is interesting. Valerie Loretta, people are mad because she like danced like Hennon Barrow at the end of the fight. I don't get it.
Or just shaked her hips right there, triggered.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like Hennon Barrow did that for a fucking decade, but everybody's a bunch of goddamn casuals.
You know why they're triggered? It's
insane that I know, but it's insane. Like I'm clearly old as fuck at this point. Because when people are starting to be like, oh, I don't even remember Hennon Barrow's title reign, clearly, I'm like, oh, God, I'm
even then, because his title reign was like one of those where it's like the interim championship turned into the championship, right?
But it was
never
a long
fought Dom
time,
Cruz.
man. And, like, no one even remembers how he used to shake his ass like that one dude did on Tough or, like, how Loretta did at the end of her fight. And, like, everybody's all fucking aggro. Like, I don't.
Like, dude, let someone celebrate whoever the fuck they want.
Well, and also, but then again, like, also, MMA fans been weird about, like, MMA fans love Dick so much that they're so scared of Dick. It's a real fucking thing going on. Dude, remember fucking...
Bro, stomps his foot and he's fucking gay.
Worse than that, like, they've tried to call Anderson Silva gay for, like, a decade. And, like, Chris Lieben and everybody for painting their toenails and shit like that. You're like, the fuck are we doing? Anyway.
It's just toxic masculinity and homophobia just fighting each other in the ring.
Huh? Well, no, it's just fear of gay thoughts is fighting inside all of their heads all the time.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's fighting inside their head. It's their toxic masculinity fighting their homophobia. Yeah. And it's like, well, which one's going to come out on top?
Yeah, by the way,
and like, did I hear
gay thoughts are always going to come out on top.
Yeah. Did I hear cum? What?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of gay thoughts, there was a whole bunch of meat in the ring for Timothy Johnson versus Matt Mitrione. I don't know. It was a bad segue.
I was like, the guy who looks like Bronson? I mean, yeah,
so the weird thing about this fight, though, is it mostly was because of a clash of heads. When you I just rewatched it right before this.
Did Mitrione's eye get fucked up again?
No, but what happened is they both lean forward with their head because it's heavyweight and because they're big boys. And essentially Johnson put his forehead right into Mitrione's like chin/face. Mitrione drops. Tim Johnson gets in side control and just starts bludgeoning Mitrione, and that's kind of a wrap. It's not great. But a lot of weird fights like that, though. Like, how many fucking injuries have I feel like every single fight, Matt Mitrione takes a gruesome-ass injury. Like, whether it be eye pokes or... Hear me? Because that's how I pick
up. Oh, no, I already knew there was a connection issue, so I just kept talking.
See, anyway, I don't until you do that, so I appreciate it. No, so... Because you'll... On re-listen, everyone will understand that I said the same thing 4 times to make sure Chris... was verifying it wasn't working. But, yeah, no, I think a lot of it is, I mean, that's a big win for Timothy Johnson. I don't know what, I mean, he's on his way to a title shot, right?
Yeah, and what well, you'll hear it when I send you the audio.
So go ahead, we'll redo it.
Oh, sorry.
No.
So, yeah.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, what did you say, bitch?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Damn.
Say, let's move forward. What'd you say? God damn it, Chris.
Yeah, what I said, motherfucker, is
Thank
that
you,
what I like about
you.
Bellator is that it's like dudes that are kind of outside that fringe top 15 get title shots. And that's mostly just kind of indicative of just Bellator not having top talent compared to other promotions.
See,
but it's also
I think a lot of that's actually based on skill matchups. And this is the point I was going to make before everything went to shit, which is why I tried to restart that. Because I couldn't remember how we got to where we were. I think a lot of that is actually better matchmaking. I think a lot of that is not hiding.
That's a good
not
point.
hiding people behind favorable matchups. Like that's how dudes like Ryan Bader rise so strongly in Bellator so quickly, or Phil Davis, is because they're actually matchmaking competitively in moments. I should clarify, because some like Valley Lareda's fucking fights are like just showcases for ass essentially. It's weird, the fights she like. All right, you know what? Just as an experiment, Chris, let's go ahead and take a look at Valerie Lareda, who is 3-0 after her win over Tara Graf. Valerie Lareda, she's from ATT. She has 3 amateur fights prior to her fight.
Wait, her nickname is Master? The fuck?
Yeah, it's not great. And she's fighting someone who was 1-1 prior to this fight. To be fair, she was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-5 as an amateur, and 1-1 as a pro. And that's who Valerie Lareda is fighting, who is 3-0 as a pro in mixed martial arts, 2-1 as an amateur, and also had like a fuckload of other competition outside of that. So there is some bad matchmaking in Bellator. However, in divisions where they don't know what to do with it, like heavyweight, they just kind of mash the pieces together in a way that I respect the fuck out of. Because in no other world, like if the UFC, if they cared about Matt Mitrione, and Matt Mitrione's been in pretty big positions in Bellator, they would not have put that Timothy Johnson fight together when Timothy Johnson is surging. So you can't sell Timothy Johnson as good as you can sell Matt Mitrione. However, Bellator, sometimes they'll just mash some shit together and see what happens. And, like, it's not always that you'll get competitive matchmaking. It's actually kind of rare that you get competitive matchmaking in Bellator. But I feel like you do see it in, like, weird instances in ways that you wouldn't in the UFC. I guess I don't know my point. Like, Chris Lencioni versus AJ Agazarm, I feel like would have never happened in the UFC for a lot of reasons. Like, they wouldn't want to burn a prospect, either one of those prospects. Lencioni has a name, but also AJ Agazarm is too big a prospect. That would have fed AJ Agazarm a bunch of dudes who can't stop takedowns. That would have fed Lencioni a bunch of guys who can't stop takedowns and who are susceptible to subs on like Mexico City cards. And like that's how they would have match made those dudes to get money. Whereas like Bellator's like, let's mash them together. We could use a fight. Then again, a lot of that's probably old UFC matchmaking and not more current ones. So I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, good add-on, Chris. Where are we at? What's going on? Michael Chandler fought Benson Henderson, I heard.
Yeah, it was funny. I was just looking at Michael Chandler's page. I like how it says his head coach is still Eric Del Fiero, which just hasn't been that way for a long time.
No, that's Tapology. Like, you can't go by...
I know. That's
you can't trust James on Tapology.
What year is it?
Yeah. No, it's very rare those are accurate.
Yeah, it says he's at the Lions, but he fights out of Vegas. Go figure. Yeah. No, this fight, I mean, if you're Benson Henderson, you should be getting outstruck by a fucking wrestler, but...
to be fair, a couple things. So, Benson Henderson did land some solid kicks early. Body kicks, specifically. And, to be fair, also, Michael Chandler has not been wrestling a lot of dudes lately. Really.
Yeah, his last one was basically Brent Primus.
Yeah. Which, like, Brent Primus, that's the kind of dude you would wrestle, right? And also, I feel like he just had such a... Like, that was going to go that way. Well, and also, wait, the premise fight is because of the fucking leg kick the first time, too, right?
Yeah.
So, like...
yeah, we saw that in that movie theater. Remember that?
Yeah, we saw Bellator.
This dude's only 5'8".
We saw Chael versus Wanderlei.
It was like Chael had his biggest fanboy. He's like, Chael!
Yeah, we saw Chael versus Wanderlei. We saw, fucking, who else was on that card? Was it Mitrione? Was it Mitrione Fedor? It was. That was a double knockdown.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. So that was fucking ridiculous. We were drinking heavy in the movie. Remember when movie theaters were a thing, bro?
You know what's crazy about Michael Chandler? He only has 5 losses, and 2 of those are to Will Brooks.
Yeah. And isn't one of them to Eddie Alvarez, too?
Yep. Oh, yeah, which no shame in that.
No, and also, those fights were close as shit.
So, yeah, I hope Michael Chandler goes to UFC, because he won't pass USADA. And if he does,
I mean, that's the thing I'm most interested in.
Even with that, I want him. That's why I want him to go to UFC, because I think even without and yes, is it mean that we're saying he's on steroids?
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying he's been accused of it his entire career, and it'd be interesting to see him drug tested heavily.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that because that could be slander.
No,
I don't know.
You could say you have a feeling.
In my opinion, I feel like he's probably on steroids. I guess it's such a word. I don't know.
Like you have no. It's opinion. It's all.
Yeah, no, I don't have any proof. And I'm not saying.
As long as you clarify, it's speculation.
I can't prove he is. It's speculation. Yeah, I can't prove he is.
There's been a lot of people who speculated that for a very long time, including a lot of his opponents.
Just like I think Yoel Romero is on steroids, but that's just my opinion. I mean,
well, and my favorite is TJ Dillashaw, who Eugene S. Robinson was calling out for fucking years about puffy nipples, and being like, we're not gonna talk about TJ, and then he pops, and everybody's like,
but no, I think even regardless of if Chandler is or is not on steroids,
and also, honestly,
he's still a talented fighter, and I would love to see him in the UFC, even though he's 34. It doesn't matter.
Be some fun matchups for him, man.
Yeah, I think he can beat some top 10 UFC lightweight is very stacked. There are probably some guys he can beat.
I also, though, think people are not paying attention to Benson Henderson's career recently. Like, I want to phrase this carefully, but I feel like a lot of the people who are like, hey, I feel like Chandler is a contender in the UFC right now if we throw him in there. I feel like a lot of those people have not watched the last couple Benson Henderson fights where, like, dude is definitely not looking like UFC Benson Henderson anymore.
Yeah.
And he is starting to not wear shots well at all, which he kind of looked good up in this fight up until he got touched at all. And then it was just all over after that. To be fair, the shots were like on the kind of just like above and behind the ear and then to the temple, which are rough shots to take, and they're like, and it was at the end of a round, like a lot of stuff that goes into that, but yeah, I don't know.
I didn't even realize Benson Henderson's last UFC win was at 155 against Jorge Masvidal.
It was go ahead and say the year also, and
it was a split decision in 2015.
Yep. Go ahead and read off his Bellator record recently.
Bellator. Well, his debut, Andre Korshov, unanimous decision loss. Then he defeated Patricio Pitbull. I think that's the bigger one, I think.
Was it Patricio or Patricky?
It says Patricio. No, that's a smaller one. Patricky guy, I think, is 170. Patricio, he beat him via leg injury.
No, that's backwards, right?
It says win leg injury.
Am I...
Patricio, he beat him in 2016, Bellator 160.
Do I remember that backwards? I thought that.
Then after that,
Henderson injured his leg.
After that, he lost to Chandler via close split decision. I remember that.
No. So Henderson injured his leg and lost. Oh no! You're right. The first time I forgot about the first fight. You're right.
Yeah. So then he lost to Michael Chandler in a close fight. I remember that. I can't remember how he scored this.
Holy shit, I totally forgot about that first.
Then he fought the brother, Patricky, and he lost split decision to him.
Right.
Then he choked out Roger Huerta. Then he defeated Sada Wad. Then he defeated Adam Piccolotti. Then he beat Miles Jury. And then he just got knocked the fuck out.
To be fair, his run has been better than I remember.
Yeah.
But also, like, Bellator's his matchmaking has been specific. We'll put it that way. I don't know. I would, as much as I would like to see Michael Chandler face off against UFC fighters, just because I like cross promotion shit. Also, I wouldn't mind Michael Chandler fighting Eddie Alvarez. However, y'all make that happen. I don't care what promotion.
I mean, he's got to go to one
or whatever. I don't really give a shit how they figure it out. Who knows how long one is in business. Considering how fucking much is coming out about them, but yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, but I'm not necessarily convinced he's going anywhere, to be honest.
Oh, like if he came to the UFC, I'd say put Chandler against Beneil Dariush.
Dude, honestly, yeah, that'd be cool.
It'd be a great fight.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, it'd be a banger for sure. For as long as
Dariush has been on fire.
Yes and no. Like,
well,
yes, he's been on fire and winning, but like also, boy, those fights.
Oh yeah, he's been on some brutal knockouts. Like shouts at Edson Barboza.
And just honestly, the fights he's been winning have been.
So yeah, I'm looking at since Dana's Shield rankings, and just the 15th. Dariush is 14. You got Dover 15. Please, oh god damn it! You know who they were. This makes me so upset. If Michael Chandler goes to UFC, you know who they're having him fight in his first fight. It's so obvious.
Why am I not thinking of it? It's an ex-Bellator fighter, right?
No. It's just way too obvious, dude. I'll just say it. Donald Cerrone. God damn it.
You think so?
Yeah. 1,000% they're doing that. 1,000% they're doing that.
You might be right.
God damn it. Because
Donald's exactly the guy who they could get to sign that on that fight.
It'd be Donald Cerrone because they wouldn't have, because Michael Chandler would be like, oh, you need to give me someone that has a name. I don't want to just fight Gregor Gillespie. I don't want to fight some Islam Makhachev. I don't want to fight, well, Kevin Lee had to get another surgery on his knee. I feel really bad for the guy.
Out. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. I don't want to fight Al Quinto. Who's that? Blah, 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 blah. You know, like, no, he's going to fight.
Dude, I would love to see Al Quinto, Michael Chandler, because Michael Chandler would absolutely fuck Al Quinto up for 6 minutes. And then we'll see what happens.
What about Diego Ferreira? He's number 8 in the shitty rankings.
Oh, dude.
Michael Chandler. Fight. No, dude. Michael Chandler, Paul Felder.
Probably Paul Felder ain't taking that shit.
What about Charles Oliveira, Chucky Olives?
I feel like Chucky Olives gets fucked up in that fight. But then again,
that's like top 5 now.
Yeah, no, we're wait. But like, no, actually, what was the one right before Paul Felder?
Diego Ferreira and Al Quinto.
Dude, either of those would be dope. Those are fun fucking
I'm
matchups.
telling you, if Chandler does go to see, it's 1,000% Cowboys fighting him. I thought I would put $100.
You're right. Well, no, if they're gonna sign him, they need to make money off him. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's gonna be the only person at that range that's gonna sign to fight. Yeah, that God, fucking. This sport sucks sometimes. All right.
Unless Connor wants to get rid of Pan.
Oh God! Don't even. Okay, we're pretending now we're just in fairyland, or fairy tale land, I should specify, because I'm in fairy tale. Let's just be very clear.
Oh, I mean, that would never happen, but if I did, I'm sorry. I think Connor kind of starches him in like the first round.
I think Connor never signs on that fight because Michael Chandler was a wrestler. So.
Well, I don't know though, but he's hittable, and I feel like either way, Connor would be like, "Well, where's the incentive anyway? You're some Bellator bum." That's probably what he would say and lead to the fight anyway. So he wouldn't even go fuck. So, I mean, if you think about it, come on, it's Connor. He'd be like, "Bellator, what's that?"
I don't know.
All right, let's actually get to the rest of the Bellator stuff.
I was just about to suggest that.
Yeah, because we're running off.
Wait, the rest of what?
Oh, yeah, exactly. So let's go. So UFC.
There you go.
Lewis versus Oleinik. Thank you. I watched how many fights? 1.
Oh, that's right, y'all. We are one of those bad podcasts where one of the hosts doesn't watch the fights.
Yeah, you know what? That's
to be fair though. Chris is
instead of Saturday when I had an original shift where I barely work Saturday or only work 4 hours. Now I work 7 hours and it's dead at work. And then I try to watch a fight, and what happened to me on Saturday,
as with many of the breweries down here, every time a fight fucking
came on, someone came in and was like, "Hey, I'm ready to drink. Okay, let me call in your food order. Oh wait, since we don't have a food truck, I gotta go ahead and drive 20 minutes there and back, and then
That's a really bad setup.
Oh wait, 20 minutes just fucking went by, so I just missed 3/4 of this fight. So yeah, sorry I missed the entire card, but I had to work. So I mean,
well, and unfortunately, it's one of those things in San Diego, especially right now.
I couldn't rewatch it today because guess what I was doing today? Working another 7 hours on a slow day. So well.
To be fair, hey, at least you guys make good beer, and at least you're getting the work in, right?
And I'm working. I'm not complaining about being able to work in a fucking pandemic. So,
no,
but
as
far
for
as being
real,
a fight fan,
if y'all are in San Diego and have a food truck, hit up Chris.
By the way, spoiler alert for this coming pay-per-view. Guess what I'm doing? I'm getting my shift covered because I don't want to miss like a fucking third of the main card. Fuck that.
Smart. Also, speaking of random shout-outs to nothing, shout out to my sweet Angie Hill USADA t-shirt that says to resist drugs and promote violence. And if you look really closely, it says not USADA in the corner, and the D is actually an O because she had got a C and D from USADA, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna do a second run of these, but like these are not gonna last long, and we changed the D to an O. So who wants a shirt? It's like, I definitely want a shirt. So shout out to Angie Hill for my sweet USADA shirt. Or not USADA shirt, I should say. I like that she did the 2000s porn parody version of a USADA shirt. Where she just put not at the beginning of it. Isn't that what they did for like the Brady Bunch porns in the 2000s? No? Just me? Okay.
I think it's just you.
Great. I mean, it's a great start to this.
No,
all right.
Now, Chris, you're like, you got me.
Oh, right. You saw 2 of these fights. Oh, we're so fucked, Chris.
I saw how many? I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, wait. Okay, right. It was the Bellator card that you saw 2 of. Okay, good. Because I'm going to put this on in the background because it's been long enough that I'm starting to forget what I've seen. And I did not take notes because I'm a bad host. Yo, that's a real thing, Chris. Anybody got any tips on how to keep your memory while smoking a lot of weed?
Oh, see, but you know what my dad says? He suffers from CRS.
Chronic.
No, it's way more obvious.
Okay.
It stands for can't remember shit.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be super offensive.
No.
Nope. Not even gonna. Just keep on moving on.
Because chronic Just kidding.
Yep. That's exactly where I tapped out too. Except I stopped the whole syllable before. All right. Well, anyway, first fight. You remember it? What was it? You want to read it off? Or you host this shit, right?
Rivera versus Ali Al-Casey. Casey.
Sure.
Looks like in this picture he's having a good time. Split decision. I did not see this fight.
Oh, good.
Surprised it didn't go to Akisi because he's from. Oh no, wait, but not on Fight Island though, because he's from the UAE. So
I remember this being competitive. But here, let me pull up my decisions because if I'll make sure I'm.
Is that the Palestinian flag? Let me see. Am I wrong? No, the royal party are definitely not from Palestine. Oh, he's from Jordan. All right.
Right, so this was 29, 28, 29, 28, 28, 29. Yeah, I had a 29, 28 for
Erwin
Rivera. I would need to rewatch it because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not rewatched this since then. But from what I remember, it was Casey looked good, but he just was slowing down to the point where he was getting kind of picked apart. And he was bleeding pretty bad at the nose, if I remember right, unless I'm mixing it up with something else towards the end of that fight. So, yeah, I leaned that way. Also, I really wish I could figure out fucking Fight Pass enough to pull up these goddamn prelim card. Do I have to literally type Alexey Oleinik's motherfucking name into this thing to figure this out? Evidently. Nope, can't even do that. That doesn't even work. That doesn't work at all. It doesn't do any good. Oh my god. Do I have to type a prelim fighter's name? Anybody have any pro tips on how to get fucking ESPN Plus to show you the prelim card after you've watched this shit? So I feel like every single week I have this goddamn problem. Oh my God. There's literally... Okay. Chris, how's it going over there?
I'm doing all right. I did watch Yusuf Zalal. I did watch Yusuf Zalal like fucking spinning hook kick this dude in the face.
Dude, right out the motherfucking gate.
Yeah. That guy's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he did... Like, after that, he got a little slow. Like, I feel like he didn't really pour a ton on later. Am I remembering that wrong?
No, you're right. He slowed it down. He kind of coasted. He coasted Jorge Masvidal style, and luckily he still got the decision.
Right. Okay, so I'm flipping through the Al Casey fight, and I remember that fight being scrappy as fuck, but Al Casey, like, just slowing down, and when he did get on top, not doing much with it. Now that I'm remembering it. It took me a minute. Also, was that the one with all the dick? There was a couple dick shots in that, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Which has been a real ass thing lately.
So that's what I have for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Zalal just looked real good, right?
No, he looked sharp. He looked quick. He was accurate. That's what you kind of want out of a fighter who's now 10-2. I mean, that's good. Good for him. I think maybe a couple more wins. He'll probably be ranked depending on how they match him up. Yeah. So exciting fighter.
I hope they don't push him a little too quick, but yeah, he's definitely looking promising for sure.
Then you had Canadian Gavin Tucker submitting Justin James. I saw this actually. Now some of these are kind of
scrappy ass fight.
I just remember I was watching this fight and my coworker Jack, shouts out Jack, he's like, "Hey, who's the guy in the shitty?" He's like, "Who's the shitty tattoo guy?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean the guy who looks like you give your little sibling an Etch-a-Sketch? That guy, that's Gavin Tucker."
Yeah, he's very creative fighter for sure.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like you just took, like, I have 17 layers that I can put on tattoos with, so.
That's what I'm saying. Or you give your little brother an Etch-a-Sketch, you're like, all right, dude.
I feel like an Etch-a-Sketch is way too kind. I feel like it's one of those things where it's a sticker book, where you can just put stickers all over a thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's like the Lisa Frank book of fighter tattoos.
God damn it! I thought you were gonna say a different book with Frank. I'm like, God damn it.
No. He's not the Anne Frank of fighter tattoos. That's Jeff Hughes.
I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but
that's the guy with the swastika tattoo that's a cover up on his back.
Checks out. Oh, so Andrea Lee's husband. Got it.
Yeah, or ex-husband, hopefully. The one we got blocked about.
Burn her once, shame on you. Burn her twice, she comes back. Just kidding. That's mean. All right.
Well, that's now.
Well, she can't hear us because she blocked us. So, all right.
By the way, she did not block the podcast, but she also will not listen to the podcast. That's
either way.
It's a push. Speaking of big wins, okay. So Gavin Tucker though looked really good as this. Like early on, James was having some success, and he did have some moments. But towards the end of this fight, good God, Gavin Tucker was just fucking him up. Like, I know he got clipped in, I believe, was it the end of the first? I think it was the end of the first, but after that, just completely started picking James apart, and James had no gas left. And yeah, man, they arguably, like, they didn't need to stop it for the third, but like, it wasn't gonna get better, you know?
Yeah. This next fight, I just remember I was talking to Jack, and I was like, "Hey, this dude has a mullet, so he's either really good or he's a douchebag."
Power of the mullet, bro.
Power of the mullet. Nice right cross to the ground and pound win for Andrew Sanchez.
To be fair, victory. Still very hittable on the feet. Like, he got clobbered with a couple shots in this fight.
Yeah, good win. That's all I got for that. This next fight, German fighter, Nasrat, or I think he's from Afghanistan. Or no, I think he's German by way of Afghanistan, I think. I can't remember. I'm probably way wrong.
By way of... Here, I'll pull it up. I can't remember. Yeah, something like that.
No, he's born in Germany, but I don't know what it doesn't. Well, I don't know his ethnicity, but his nationality is German.
Right, I got you.
He's a German fighter. Also known as Slim Kelvin Gastelum or Not Fat Slim, right? What was the thing we're going with? I can't remember.
Well, yeah, not Fat Stallone, because we're instead of calling him small or like little Kevin Gastelum or small Kevin Gastelum.
Dude, they're like literally the same height.
I know. Well, and also we should just start calling him Fat Stallone, as the MMA nerd and I decided this week. So, or no, sorry, not Fat Stallone. But although that works too, I didn't realize, but it totally works too.
I'm just gonna call him Diet Gastelum.
Well, no, it's Fat Parast. Or you could also, I guess, call him NASFAT if you wanted to. It's really up to you.
Because it almost sounds like
there's a lot of jad puns available with this name. So whatever you guys want to do.
So, German Gastelum, press. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make up new names.
Yeah, you mean Jerk Gastelum? It's getting late.
Yeah, I'm tired. You couldn't tell, right?
I'm buzzed. You can't tell, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a sad yeah from Chris on that one.
It's like, yeah. Oh, I don't care about that. I'm just tired. I can't keep my eyes up. I feel more sorry for you because you have to deal with me.
I'm carrying this shit like a drunk kid.
I know you are, because like half the time you're like, you still there? And I'm just like, yeah.
Exactly. I will say, Munoz that's some rough matchmaking against Nasrat Akbaras. I don't know if it was last minute. Like, did that get changed before this?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because I remember I listened to one podcast and they were kind of hyped on Alex Munoz. And there's a lot of Munoz fighters, and I'm not trying to diss Alex Munoz, but I'm not too familiar with him, so I kind of was just thinking, I was like, well...
He's out of Alpha Male, is basically the hype.
Well, that checks out.
Yeah, there's a lot of this makes sense now.
Yeah.
And also why he would take a questionable fight like that, because it clearly was. Like, he got...
AKA Uriah Faber's in his ear, like, dude, Alex, don't worry about Nasrat. He's fucking overrated, dude. You got wrestling, brother.
Not just that, but, like, man, that was a pretty bad beating he took. Like, he'll put it on Alex Munoz in that fight.
He's like, we don't believe in having a head coach, even though Chris Holdsworth is kind of our head coach. But
let's all not talk about Justin Buchholz, including us, who...
Well, he kind of had like an unceremonious exit.
Dude, he keeps having unceremonious exits, including from our fucking recommendations last year. If you've been paying attention to his Twitter at all. Anyway, we're keeping...
I'm gonna look at his Twitter now.
No, don't. It's not recently. It's just it doesn't get better. Name anyone who's working with him at all right now. I can't.
That checks out, though.
Yeah. Dude, burning bridges quicker than me, and that's impressive. Anyway, speaking I like that joke, and I hate that joke every time. Speaking of weird...
Oh, his Twitter is deleted. So
okay, perfect.
I think it's deleted. I looked it's not there.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I probably got blocked for some QAnon shit, if I know MMA.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of shit talking...
Shout out to referees.
Yeah. Speaking of shit talking, Kevin Holland brutalized Joaquin Buckley in a real way. Joaquin, goddamn it. Yeah, Kevin. Do you see this fight where Kevin Holland just bludgeoned a man?
Oh no, that was a great fucking just right straight.
Well, and to be fair, dude, Joaquin absolutely came out looking to fucking kill a man, but also that had about 6 or 7 minutes worth of effort into it, because that was never going to go longer than that, right?
No.
Like, the way he was throwing, you're like, all right, well, either he's going to win in the first 6 or 7 minutes, or he's going to gas and die. And since it's Kevin Holland, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite fighters, I fucking love Kevin Holland. Like, I always love dudes who are, like, frustrating and, like, mouthy. Like, those are my favorites. Yeah. Because they make people the most angry, and they're generally the most clever.
His post-fight interview is pretty great.
Well, and, like, he's very much in the same realm that I put, like, the Diaz brothers or a lot of other dudes, where, like, they're just clever enough and just fucking, like, real enough to just say shit that they don't know is as smart and clever and like witty as it actually is, you know, because they talk quicker than they think, and I love that shit. Also, people sleep on the fact that he trains under Travis Lutter and is like a straight up disciple of Travis Lutter in like a real way. I think they like train hands on less and less nowadays, but he very much is still, as he said in interviews, in contact, or at least from the last I've heard, very much in contact with Travis Lutter to this day, and like they do a lot of game planning and like just like camp training and mental stuff. And yeah, man. I mean, like, I know people like to shit on Travis Lutter because of like Dana White's fucking dumbass statements in the past. Like, it's not fair if Dana White trashes your career by calling you the Michael Jordan of fucking jiu-jitsu or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And then you go up and absolutely almost die on the scale against Anderson Silva before getting killed. Like, I don't know. But I'm a bit. I would say it's really hard not to like Kevin Holland, and I think it's just gonna get harder and harder going forward. Pause, as Aljo would say.
Yeah.
So
good one by Kevin
dude,
Holland.
but
I'm excited
also
to see what he could do.
That knockout was nasty, right?
Oh, it was fucking beautiful. Yeah. You know it's good when you show it to your coworker Jack, who's a boxer, and he's like, "Yeah, that's great." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I showed it to you." Yeah. So.
Also, Jack, who is not a fan of a lot of fighters, he will be the first to say.
Yeah, it's funny. I keep trolling him, by the way, saying, so, well, I'm like, you do realize, I know how much you like Conor McGregor. I'm like, you do realize, though, if you ever met an actual real Conor McGregor fan and you talked about him fighting Manny Pacquiao, they would say to you with a straight face that he would knock out Pacquiao within the first 3 rounds. You know that, right?
Wait for Ariel to say it in a couple months.
Yeah. And then he's like, yeah. Then I tell them they're fucking stupid. I'm like, do you see how that works, Jack?
Yeah. It's like how when Jack says Conor doesn't get out wrestled by everyone.
No, and he actually knows that because I've talked to him about like.
And also,
Conor
Jack does that cheeky
terrible
shit that I do too, where he's just like.
Because I know Jack kind of trolls me a little bit with the Conor because whenever I mention him, he goes the GOAT. Like he'll say that.
Yeah, he's dropped in chat talking shit too. I love that.
And what he means by that is not like, and he's admitted this. He's like, no, he's not the GOAT as far as defending his belt. He sees Conor as like an icon.
That's it. Indefensible. Yeah. Indefensible, much like Conor's belts.
Well, yeah. But his point is like as an icon of mixed martial arts. I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sentiment to that. You can't really technically disagree with
but like,
the guy who put the UFC on the map.
Yeah,
pretty much.
He's like the Dennis Rodman of MMA.
Yeah.
Notable. Not necessarily. And very talented and had moments. Not necessarily one of the best.
The fuck?
Although then again, Dennis Rodman was a great defensive character, which anyway, Tim Means took on Laureano Sarpoli. Wow, I butchered that bad. Man, this fight went kind of how I thought it would, but I didn't think it would be as like clear cut. Like I thought Sarpoli was gonna have a lot more success early, and Tim Means was gonna have a lot more success late. But Tim Means was kind of just able to figure out, like, hey, if I can avoid a shot or two from this dude, I can just bludgeon him on the out, like, as he exits every single fucking time.
Yeah, it's just kind of... Hold on a second, dude. Hold on.
Go for it. I'll keep talking about it. But, no, it's interesting. Like, I feel like on every single exit, Tim Means was catching him with hooks. And, Tim Means definitely ate some fucking brutal shots early. You can see Sarpoli notably fade within the first minute or so. First round or so. And then after that, Tim Means just slowly start taking over. Let me see. If I pull up the judging on this, Dennis Clearly. Oh, shit. Is Ron McCarthy? Dude, all right. Dope. I didn't realize Ron McCarthy judged on this card 3 times. And I fucking... I fucks with the scorecard. If you guys don't know, Ron McCarthy is the son of John McCarthy. People don't know that. Regular judge. Keep an eye on him. He's good. I heard about that on the Sean Sheehan podcast with Ben Cartledge, I believe. I think it was on that one. I must have been. I don't know who else would have brought that up. let's see. Dennis Cleary gave it 29-28. Camijo gave it 30-27, and Ron McCarthy gave it 29-28. Yeah, I had a 29-28. Yeah, Tim Means look good. I mean, he's able to consistently land on the exits, and I feel like that's kind of what it came down to. That just being gritty and making shit ugly, which is kind of what Tim Means does. So, checks out. I'm interested to see what happens when Chris gets back. See if he's still in one piece. Like, over under on him bleeding. I'm just kidding. Claremont's not that hood, dude. Actually, Parties in used to be. It's not so much anymore. But we had a friend that got shot like a block from there. So it's not hood. Let's see. Oh, I'm excited to talk about... I hope Chris watched Kunitskaya versus Yulia. By the way, if everybody who called Yulia on a podcast last week, Julia, I see you, bro. Y'all, none of y'all did any homework because it has absolutely always been Yulia. And if you didn't watch her Fight of the Year nomination last year, how dare you? Also, that probably goes to Chris also, though, to be fair.
All right, I apologize for that. My brother needed help. He was bringing some stuff in late in the door, and I didn't want to leave him outside of the front door of the house.
No worries. Yeah, I was just talking about how the Sarapoli fight was good, but like,
I thought it's like he had some moments, but like every time I look at the TV when I wasn't serving someone beer, I'd see like him kind of getting beat up. I kind of felt bad.
Well, that was the thing. Is like he was landing good shots, but just Tim Means was just following the end of every exchange with shots. Like, he would always have the last shot on an exchange, and then, like...
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And as Sarapoli started slowing down, he started trying to engage in the clinch more, which just made Tim Means more and more offensive, so... it was a really good fight. I liked it a lot. Let's see, the fight after that, which I was just talking
This fight...
Oh, actually,
wow.
We're going to get to the one I almost mentioned in a second. But yeah, dude, Beneil Dariush for Scott Holtzman. Holy shit.
I didn't realize Dariush is climbing to 19-4, so it's like, let me see what
he's on a real ass run, dude. I've been very up and down on Beneil Dariush over his career. Like, and
wow,
I
he's
feel
only
like
31? Dude, I was under the impression this dude was like 35, 36. I'm fucking
No,
dumb.
he's young, but he's been around since he was like 18, I want to say. I could be wrong.
Dude, he's on a 5-fight win streak. Nice.
Yeah, but a lot of those he was getting bludgeoned up until he won.
Oh God, he lost to Alexander Hernandez. Like, I know that
was a
kid
bad
still has
loss
potential.
too. Well, no,
That
that was so he had that crazy. He was beating Edson Barboza up until he got caught with that flying knee.
Yeah.
And then the Alexander Hernandez loss, he just got blitzed immediately with left hands.
You know what's kind of insane, dude? If you take away the Barboza loss and even Hernandez, he'd be like only 2 losses right now, and he'd already be like a top 10 guy. Isn't that crazy?
Well, not only 2 losses, they beat a Ramsey Nijem and Michael Chiesa, which are like both at the time that they happened. Like Ramsey Nijem in 2014, still a very tough fight, and
yes,
and like getting caught by Ramsey Nijem at that young in your career in your 6th fight after 8th fight after coming off a win over Charlie Brenneman, like that's very understandable at that point in your career. And then getting wins by choke over guys like Anthony Rocco Martin, win over Diego Carlos Ferreira, fucking Derek Cruikshank, Jim Miller, Michael Johnson. Good God, actually.
So
Dude,
like
Vic, Rashid Magomedov.
Dude, I'm really a fan of Dariush now because he's like one of those fighters I kind of want to ride on the bandwagon. Dude, I want to see some success for this dude. He's like a fun fight.
Well, and I guess I sleep on Dariush just because that run from Barboza to Hernandez was rough, man. And even that
give him Gregor Gillespie
fight was kind of rough.
Another badass wrestler. That'd be a fun fight.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. It
Islam.
Like, yeah, Islam might not be bad.
Ooh, if Kevin Lee wasn't hurt, I'd have Kevin Lee. I'd match Kevin Lee with Dariush.
You probably got to give him, if not somebody ranked, like somebody just outside the top 15. Like, who's number 15 right now?
That's Drew Dober, who I believe he already beat.
Yeah, he already beat Drew Dober. Who's above that?
One above him is Cowboy.
Okay, no. Who's above that?
Gregor?
Yeah, Gregor Gillespie is probably the guy. I should just start.
And then Islam, and then Kevin, and then Al, and then yeah.
I should pull up Zane Simon's. What we're talking about. This. Go ahead and set up the next one. I'm pulling Zane Simon's fighter list for divisions on Bloody Elbow because they are way better than the ranking.
Between former women's featherweight title contender Yana Kunitskaya, who also I didn't realize is like engaged to Thiago Santos. I didn't even realize that. That's pretty cool.
Dude, on April 1st they posted a thing of her being pregnant, and nobody figured out it was a joke until like a month later.
Yeah. She defeated. You said it's Yulia, right?
Yeah, Yulia. And don't
Yulia
say Julia,
Stoliarenko.
or else you're gonna sound like a goddamn casual.
Well,
Yulia Stoliarenko had.
That's
remember that Invicta fight that I think I had you watch it. If not, I showed you the pictures of the fucking tomato pasted cage that they fought in. It was like the bloodiest fucking female fight in forever.
I think so.
Dude, her last fight was brutal in Invicta. I think I had you watch this at one point.
So I actually didn't catch this fight between Yana Kunitskaya and Yulia.
I mean, if you scouted this fight, you knew this was going to happen. Yulia has no clinch game. And Yana Kunitskaya's entire game is based off of beating people up against cage in the clinch like she's Randy Couture. And then, like, occasional arm bars or other shit if she has to do it.
Holy shit, she has super long arms.
Who?
Kunitskaya.
Really?
Like, yeah, almost like a 69 reach. 68 and a half.
I never trust that stuff, but it doesn't
She's
surprise me.
5'8", so...
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, she...
Yeah.
But yeah,
so I guess she's more than her height. That makes sense.
Yeah, and she absolutely dominated this fight in the clinch. It wasn't even close. Well, the weirdest part was Paul Felder the entire time was like, I don't get why she's not trying to take her down or strike at range. You're like, hey, Paul Felder, have you watched either of these women fight? Because Yulia Stoliarenko's best options are an armbar from guard after she gets taken down, or to fuck her up at range. So why the fuck would Yana Kunitskaya do anything other than put her on the cage and beat her up like she's Randy Couture? The fuck, man. And also, it should be noted, Yana Kunitskaya, of course, since she's dating Thiago Santos, trains at where? ATT, which clearly scouted the fuck out of Yulia and was
Dude,
like,
you're not
oh,
kidding by armbar. Holy fuck. Armbar. She's
dude,
she's Lithuanian
great
and Ronda.
She almost caught one in this fight. She's great. She's really good at catching arm bars, and she's really good at just being gritty on the feet and making exchanges like ugly and long. Like I would say that fight she had in Invicta had very much like a female Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner kind of vibe, where they just bludgeoned the shit out of each other for 5 rounds. Like it wasn't like one of those things where they like were super technical or anything, and they just bludgeoned the fuck out of each other. And they both had moments. It was ugly as fuck. Everyone bled everywhere, and it was crazy. But yeah, rough fight for Yulia. It was always going to be that way, though. So
this next fight I wasn't able to catch. Unfortunately,
although
it was
one thing I remember.
Sorry,
I just remember we forgot to mention Beneil Dariush got fucking hit in the eye like 14 times by Hotzaz Holtzman in the first 2 seconds of that fight. It seems like, right? And that's why he got so mad and just fucking sprinted at him and threw hands. I forgot to mention.
I think I remember that because I think I was watching. I'm like, dude, look at his chin. Or something
he got eye poked like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, eye poked. I thought you said he got blasted.
No, he got eye poked like 2 or 3 times in the first like minute of that fight.
Oh shit! I have to watch that again.
Yeah, it was brutal. Anyway, you want to kick this next one off?
A fight that I did not watch, unfortunately. Darren, the dentist Stewart, is that him?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even actually read his name. Versus Maki Pitolo.
The OG of the mask game.
He defeated him via guillotine choke.
Darren Stewart, by the way, used to walk out with dentist masks back in like the day.
Oh, that's right, huh?
Yeah. He used to walk out like the surgical mask. Yeah, back in the day, back before it was.
Or also known as the COVID mask.
Yeah, back before it was the world. Which that feels weird nowadays.
Didn't this guy also fight Shabazian? Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Lost split decision.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I remember that is because last week they were like, yeah, Darren Stewart's fight was close. Interesting that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Anyways, he choked out Maki Pitolo. Good win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a back and forth fight. Like Pitolo was landing some shots early.
I was hoping this dude's from Hawaii just by looking at him.
He trains with Max Holloway.
Yeah,
or he did at least at one point train with Max Holloway. Yeah, man, there's a lot of big exchanges early. There's a lot of Darren Stewart, right? I'm not fucking that up. Thank you. I have a panic attack when it comes to last names that are too familiar. I'm like, oh god, am I mixing this up?
Darren Stewart, bro.
Yeah. No, that's not the person we're talking about.
I know. The other guy. One punch.
Heart of a lion. Speaking of which, where the fuck has he been? Did he retire?
Unfortunately, he's coming back.
Oh, no. MMA retirements, huh? During the Dennis Stewart, him and Pitolo were throwing hard early, both were landing, and then in an exchange and in a scramble, Stewart grabbed that guillotine, he caught it in a way that he was, if I remember right, he was palm to palm at first, he was high elbow at first. He caught it, he was high elbow, and then he switched it to a power guillotine. And I was able to get the finish at the end of the first round. Super, super tight squeeze on that thing. And big win over Maki Pitolo, who looked good in moments in this fight. Landed some big-ass shots that definitely at least rocked Stewart a little bit. But, yeah, man, he got caught getting a little gritty with the scramble. Big win for Darren Stewart.
Yeah, big win. Another big win was the co-main event at evening between former middleweight champion Chris Weidman, or as they call him on Reddit, the Chris, or as some people call him, that's still my boy. Even though that's not really a thing anymore. It's
I beg to differ. I saw a lot of people on MMA Twitter putting the picture back out.
I mean, it is pretty funny. But anyways, a good win by Chris Weidman. Even though he did kind of get, they both kind of.
Well, first off, let's get it straight. It's Wonderman Weidman, clearly. Dude came out looking like he's from South Carolina with a kickboxing degree and shit. The fuck happened? Dude, low hands, all jab, faint jab heavy, throwing fucking lead leg high kicks off and shit. Fucking bouncing around. It was weird. I mean, he's been doing a little bit of that, but he kind of just
I mean, at this point in your career, it's not really a bad idea, I guess. I don't know.
It's not a great idea to put your hands down if you're Chris Weidman at this point in your career.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out for him, but every time he does that, I just trust my reaction time to lead my chin away from this. It makes me real nervous. I don't know, man. He looked good early.
I don't have much to say about this. That third round was fantastic for him. Great top control, was working. He had some short elbows. He had submission attempts, which were slick. He's trying to get the head and arm the whole time against Akhmedov. I liked what he was doing. It was nice because Weidman's always had some good top control. I mean, look what he did to Anderson Silva. I'm happy for him to get that win, kind of get that monkey off his back. It'd been since 2017, if I recall correctly, which was against Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, I think
he's crazy.
He's 1-5 or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see him get that win again. I think he's going to be a top 10 guy again? No, probably not. But I like seeing that guy win. He's a nice guy. He was a fun champion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think
all the best to him, really. As far as who he fights next, I don't know. I mean, he just beat the number 11 guy, so I guess you kind of have to be in that wheelhouse, kind of.
That makes me feel bad.
I don't know. Good luck to Chris Weidman. He still clearly has some sort of skills. He's just not in his prime. That's what it is. And
I think the biggest problem right now that he's facing is unless he's able to figure out his cardio with this kickboxing style, it's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I don't they said I heard both Aljo and Matt Serra coming into this fight, or maybe it was Aljo and Ray Longo, one of the two. It was either Matt Serra or Ray Longo, and definitely Aljo, say they were going to out-wrestle Akhmedov coming into this. That seemed like bad game planning to me. At least in the first round. Trying to wrestle Akhmedov in the first round, trying to clinch Akhmedov in the first round sounds like a great idea. Trying to wrestle Akhmedov in the first round where you're diving on ankle picks and single legs seems like a terrible plan. And so I kind of just don't know what to make of Chris's game going forward. But then again, I have him for a while. Hopefully he doesn't. I'd like to just not hear him talk about 205 or a title shot after this fight, are my hopes. Because I don't need any more Eugene S. Robinson style fucking woodpile talk, you know?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I mean, really good win for Weidman, though, to be fair. Like, this was a hard matchup that I did not see him winning coming into it. So, it's a big statement for him to get this win, because that's a bad matchup for him. Just stylistically. Like, it was never going to be easy.
Yeah, I don't think I had him in this fight initially.
I definitely had Akhmedov via decision. Just making it ugly for Chris after after he couldn't get takedowns. Because the second I heard Chris is going to try and work takedown heavy game, I was like, oh, well, that's a terrible plan. Like, it's going to look like the Luke Rockhold fight where he just gets completely shut down and then gasses and he just pounded out. But yeah, he was able to make it work. I did not see him coming out with the fucking lead leg high kick, and like half of them were like fucking like not quite question mark kicks, but like almost question mark kicks on the lead leg. Like, it was very weird, man. So I guess shouts to Stephen Thompson for teaching an old dog new tricks, huh?
Yeah, it's got him the dub. I mean, that didn't get him the dub, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about Weidman, except that it's like he's gonna fight either a top 15 guy or somewhere near his rank of 11, his new rank of 11. I don't know at this point. Like, good job, you're number 11, but
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's next for him.
Yeah, good luck to him. I mean that sincerely. We'll see.
And then lastly, we had a fucking blast of a fight, which Chris was always going to go this way. It was going to go one of two ways, and this was 80% of the ways it was going to go, which was Derrick Lewis gets wrestle-fucked until he decides to not get wrestle-fucked, and then he kills a man.
And that's what I told Jack. He remember he asked me, he's like, hey, how's this fight going to go? I'm like, oh, well, the Russian guy's probably going to submit him. I'm like, but Derrick Lewis has
a man with no neck.
And I was like, but Derrick has that ability to just be like, all right, I'm getting up now. And yeah. That's what happened. What I didn't expect was at the beginning of the second round where he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to fucking flying knee this dude in the sternum and then just knock him out.
I mean, that's kind of what I expected throughout this fight, was Derrick Lewis to just do a bunch of leaping crazy shit because he has more cardio now.
And I don't know.
I also expected him to get wrestle fucked, but I just figured Alexey Oleinik was gonna go for weird old man shit, which he absolutely did.
I can't remember which podcast said it, but they said the fact that Derrick Lewis is like a top
that could be half the battle.
I want to say it was heavy hands, but it wasn't them. I think it was who are the top heavyweights? I'd be like, well, now I think Junior Dos Santos is the one who fucked him up.
Yeah.
Either way, actually, I kind of like Derrick Lewis's chances against Overeem at this point.
I hate it. That'd be a fun fight.
Because Derrick Lewis, let me talk about this seriously. He looked really good against Oleinik as far as his explosiveness.
He looked awful as far as his ground game. He didn't.
Yeah, no ground.
He didn't. Yeah. He didn't stop any transition on the ground. There was zero defense. Like
the one thing that impressed me the most was just his ability to explode.
Oh my god. He didn't even try to pretend like he had a half guard. He literally just, if you get Derrick Lewis on his back, he just lays there until he gets up. He doesn't even pretend to move his hips. He's not doing shit. He's just gonna sit there and wait for you to let him get up.
And don't remind me the one win that Derrick Lewis has that doesn't count, because I'm still get PTSD from this to this day.
Oh man.
Because on paper, if you're like, wow, he beat him, and you'd be like, he knocked him out, right? Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, obviously, right?
Yeah.
God damn it.
But
I was there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh boy. Yeah, you mean the best fight that's definitely probably going to happen next for the heavyweight division?
Yeah, the fight that was literally
the next
in
UFC
movie
contender.
Gladiator, where everyone yells "fight, fight, fight" over and over again because they're doing so great. Yeah, that one.
The one where everyone felt like they're in 6th grade and let down again. Because someone in the playground wouldn't do anything.
Oh no. Well, that, and it's also a fight where everyone's at a fucking concert and they're like, "Yay, we don't have lighters, we have phone camera lights."
Oh, I feel like that's not even though, yeah. Anyway, no. So here's the thing. Also, though, I wish they wouldn't have let goddamn Verdum go, because how cool would Derrick Lewis versus Verdum be?
So it's like, obviously either goes Derrick Lewis, knocks him out pretty quickly, or
Verdum chokes the fuck out of him. Yeah, and also, but that 75 seconds of that fight are gonna be awesome.
Dude, that's honestly a 50-50. I kind of think Lewis knocks him out with the uppercut.
I kind of think it's really up in the air.
Yeah, no, I think Lewis in that fight.
I think I would take Verdum, but
and it's Verdum
not
being
the Verdum
super homophobic too. And be like, "All right, Maricón, I got you," and he's just like, "Blah!"
That's very possible as well. Yeah. Man, yeah. That's a kind of a bummer. That would be a fun fight. And now, honestly, that would be good matchmaking right now for that division. But they will never do it.
That's all I got, because I'm about to pass out. I drank too much, and I'm not even drunk. I'm just tired, dude. Like, God damn it. I had for lunch at work fucking some bomb-ass fish and chips. I can't tell you the last time I had fish and chips, dude, and it was worth it.
Dude,
you know?
I need to go to the fish and chips place in Claremont again. I would love
Mr. Fish and Chips.
Mr. Fish and Chips. Yeah, that's that fire.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe so. Let's plan. I'll meet you tomorrow at Burning Beard. Don't tell Karen. We'll do that. Yeah, I'm actually serious. If you're busy, don't worry about it.
We could probably do that.
It'd be fun.
For sure.
Just let me know what time works for you.
Yeah, I mean, they have like outdoor seating and stuff, and like I'm guessing on Monday they're gonna be pretty fucking dead. But I'm not gonna lie, if there's hella motherfuckers in that parking lot, we're just gonna drive to a parking lot and drink it in the parking lot.
Yeah, that works.
Right. We'll do an after disaster style thing where we just sit in our own cars and fucking talk across from our cars. It'll be fucking super dep.
That works for me.
Alright, man. Well, on that note, everybody, as always, you guys can find us TSOVpod on Twitter. You guys can send us an email, sovpod@gmail.com. Let us know what podcast we're sleeping on. Let us know how, hopefully we're slightly less drunk than last week, but not sober enough to be hosting podcasts, I'm assuming. And I don't know. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like we've been drinking decently during this.
And also, be on the lookout for a Sound of Violence video game stream special of us playing Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout at some point.
We will definitely make that happen, and
that is a fucking stupid game, but it's also hilarious.
Yeah, so. and maybe Chris and I'll even do a dumb drinking game or something with it. Who knows?
And by the way, G6 hung out with him last week. He really wants to do a commentary. I can't remember when the next. He is 1,000% down, and I told him. I told him, like, I think we have a open week coming up soon.
I don't know that we do, but we can always do one and put it in the can for later.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Because, like, as timely as stuff with G6 is going to be, I have to edit so much of that kind of shit that like, honestly, we might as well do it ahead of time so that way I have time to edit out all the name drops
and certain words that should be said.
Or sounds or implications.
Yeah, him burping into the mic impromptu.
No, I mostly don't cut those out. Expect what you expect from a G6 episode. Hey, he does my favorite thing about a lot of dudes who I love on podcasts like Jordan Breen or Dune, where they'll go on a show and they'll just completely ruin the format. Where they're like, "Oh yeah, I know you had a format, but I'm here, so we're gonna do a different thing today." And G6 is good at that shit. But anyway, we'll wrap this here, everybody. But much love, and man, it's been Been a fun goddamn week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, on that note, we will be back next week. But if y'all have any questions in the meantime, hit us up. Let us know your recommendations. Let us know what shows we're sleeping on. And, Chris, you got anything else?
That's for me.
All right. Well, until then, go support your local brewery. Go do something decadent. Yeah. Bye.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Well, the craft beer industry is
Liked by the sound of violence.